This world is completely split. Stick with me here, one half is a lawless dream beast chaos continent, while the other is a flashy neon human metropolis with wicked advanced tech. In this utopia, humans live the absolute dream, turning every single beast part into fuel and resources. Except for our lad here, he is definitely not living the dream and looks absolutely furious. A gang of thugs surrounds him, demanding his secret adventure stash. The leader pins him with a boot, threatening a bloody beatdown for defying them. With one swift kick, these bullies launch our boy right across the dirty alleyway. Even while getting stomped on, he screams, "What is so wrong with wanting an adventure?" His rage explodes, yelling that they have absolutely zero right to laugh at him. Suddenly, the thugs actually get spooked by his mental intensity and decide to leg it. Left alone on the street, he just grips his bag, watching those cowards run away. Then this mysterious old bloke in shades rocks up, casually commenting on the lad's survival plans. Our boy, totally unbothered, glares at him and demands his stolen bag back. The geezer holds it completely out of his reach. The bloke asks why he is so utterly obsessed with surviving. His logic is darkly simple. Dying out there is way less annoying than living here, so this old guy offers to teach him survival basics and how to handle human problems. Now pay attention, our boy asks if this training actually includes exploring the great unknown. Flashing a confident grin, the old man says literally anything is possible if he steps up and becomes a dream beast hunter. Our lad is visibly confused, asking what on earth a dream beast hunter even is. The mentor validates that, launching into a whole passionate speech about how exploration is humanity's absolute oldest drive. He explains that these dream beasts are the mysterious foundation of their entire world. Literally everything they eat and use comes from hunting down these wild creatures. And dream beast hunters, they are the absolute mad lads exploring hidden lands for super rare ingredients. Making it a super respected gig, or so the recruitment pitch says anyway. So he officially invites our boy to join him and become a proper hunter himself. Our boy is absolutely starstruck, mate. With eyes wide at the massive possibilities of it all, he just says okay, shakes the old man's hand and seals the bloody deal. 10 years pass, we are at a posh restaurant where a rich snob threatens a waiter over some lobster. This poor bloke is on his knees begging for mercy, swearing the lobster is their absolute best dish, which earns him a brutal smash right against the wall from one of the massive goons. Because apparently you do not talk back to the great light of Snowhawk, he lectures everyone that a rare magma lobster is absolute rubbish if cooked wrong. Right then. You and I both love a good comeback, right? A confident blonde chef steps in, grabs the huge lobster herself, and tells the whole room to watch closely. Then her masterclass begins. She uses a chilled knife to prep the meat perfectly, pouring oil extracted from the shell to boost that natural flavor. Plating it up with noodles made from low-tier phantom beasts for the absolute perfect final touch. She presents the magma lobster crystal noodles with a smug little bon appetit, and Light is literally bathed in the holy glow of gourmet food. He is completely stunned, so she literally shoves the entire dish right into his mouth. Bon appetit, mate. It is literally ascending him. He feels the power of gourmet food surging straight through his very soul. Now he is all smiles, praising her as the youngest second-class chef globally and a culinary genius. She explains that Dream Beast energy boosts physical power, offering to make him stronger for a price. Naturally. The bloke gets cheeky and offers a partnership, promising to make her life amazing. But that sinister grin, it really says it all. She is totally playing him, telling someone named Hertz to get ready. Suddenly we are in a packed underground arena. The crowd roars for fighter number 4, while the other side screams just as loud for his opponent, number 10. Turns out Light owns this entire fight club, casually offering the chef literally any dream beast she could ever want. Watching the brutal brawl below, he promises that winning in his arena grants absolutely any wish. His sales pitch includes the usual bait, infinite cash, beautiful women, and of course, absolute power. He offers her all of that if she agrees to become his exclusive personal chef. She plays it perfectly, thanking Master H. Will she accept? You and I will just have to see. Right, stick with me, mates. Down in the ring, a flashy purple-haired announcer kicks off the main event, introducing the first fighter. A terrifying shadow panther, a beast known for being absolutely lethal. Its opponent is a mysterious bloke on a cracking 12-win streak, a proper crowd favorite. And there he is, chained up in a cage like an animal, labeled as number 11. A guard unlocks his cell, barking that it is time to fight, but the bloke just looks bored, and as he finally stands up, we see him. It is Hertz, our cheeky lad, looking completely dangerous. This guard is properly sweating buckets, clearly terrified of the absolute unit he just unleashed. Hertz casually watches the bloke scurry away after being told he has 5 minutes to prepare. Smirking, Hertz asks the terrified guard if he is genuinely really that scary. Yeah, mate, you absolutely are. He strolls through the holding area past cages full of captured fighters, and one of his neighbors tries chatting him up, asking if he also wants out of this dump. The bloke starts begging immediately, promising to do absolutely anything if Hertz can bust them out. Soon, every single prisoner is pleading for freedom, loudly dumping their sad sob stories on him. Hertz gives them a cool, cheeky smile, promising he will get every single one of them out of there. Now watch this bit closely. Telling everyone to step back, he calmly approaches the bars of his reinforced cell and absolutely obliterates the thick steel door with one casual kick. His new mates are totally gobsmacked, their jaws practically hitting the bloody floor in shock. Yeah, these lads definitely did not expect him to be a proper one-man army. One even screams in pure disbelief as Hertz casually strolls from the rubble, flexing those massive muscles. He brutally snaps his wrist chains as if they were made of paper, and now totally free, he finally declares it is his turn to go absolutely mad. The scene then changes with a flashy burst of cosmic energy, taking us back upstairs where Lei is carefully watching everything, noticing how Hertz destroyed a cell with a single kick. He is clearly impressed, telling the chef this bloke might genuinely be something truly special. With a snappy click of his fingers, Lei gives the signal to start the main event. The flashy announcer gets the message loud and clear in his earpiece. Time to hype this madness up. Grabbing the microphone, he prepares to introduce the star of the show to the roaring crowd, hyping up the mysterious dream beast hunter and asking if he can actually snatch win number 13. Hertz. He smiles, completely unfazed by the dramatic build-up. I know what you're thinking. Who is the opponent? Revealed as a massive shadow panther, the dark jungle king. The terrifying beast lunges forward with its massive claws completely extended. Ready to make him a quick snack, but Hertz plants his foot, cracking the solid stone floor with raw power. He even has the cheek to mock it, basically telling the deadly monster to try a bit harder. While the massive panther attacks, our cheeky lad takes the deadly charge head-on without a single ounce of fear, casually catching its huge immortal paw with a simple one-handed grip. Then, with a ridiculously over-the-top powerful twist, he literally lobs the giant cat across the entire arena, making the so-called king crash into the floor with a properly bone-breaking thud. And just like that, the fight ends with the panther totally knocked out. Hertz checks his hand, noticing his ridiculous power feels disconnected from his body, like he has never actually had to fight for survival in the wild before. That purple-haired announcer is absolutely losing his marbles today, screaming about the one-punch knockout, while the whole crowd goes totally mental for his incredible 13th consecutive victory. Up in his fancy box, Lei laughs out loud, finding this lad brilliantly interesting, as a matter of fact. So the chef sweetly offers to go whip up his proper victory meal now that the show has finally ended. But the very second Lei turns around, her face completely drops. She is actually only here for the hard evidence. Lei calls down to the ring, giving Hertz a proper cheeky, condescending compliment for his epic win streak. He offers to make Hertz one of his own lads and let him out, an offer our bloke calls a proper dream, except he does not actually want to leave. And with a wicked smirk, he says he has a message for them all. Lei looks up from his VIP box, completely baffled by the echoing voice ringing out in the arena. Because Hertz just magically teleported straight into the announcer booth, leaving the poor bloke totally speechless. Snatching the microphone, Hertz gives a little smirk, completely ready to make a cheeky public service announcement. He then casually tells the massive crowd that this entire underground fight club is officially shut down by the Federation. The crowd sits in stunned silence as he declares the operation shouldn't exist. You and I absolutely need the next chapter. Right, stick with me here. This cracking silence lasts 2 seconds before everyone absolutely loses it laughing. Up in the posh seats, Elle is absolutely fuming at this cheeky lad's unbelievable audacity. He yells at his mates to release the Beast Kings and turn Hertz into bloody red mist. Down in the ring, the poor announcer is sweating buckets, wondering what these beasts are. Hertz casually slings an arm round him, telling the bloke to chill and keep chatting. So he introduces the new challengers, a terrifying black bear and an eight-eyed monkey. And if that was not mental enough, we get a quagga, literally the wildest beast known to man. The announcer screams nobody survives fighting them, which Hertz actually finds brilliantly helpful. With those cracking introductions out the way, our lad jumps straight back in to face his 3 absolutely massive new playmates. Our purple-haired mate is losing his tiny mind, shouting that Hertz is fighting all 3 kings at once. The crowd goes absolutely bonkers, convinced he is a proper fool. Completely unfazed, Hertz stares down the massive black bear towering over him. He effortlessly dodges a cracking swipe that totally shatters the ground he stood on. Then he lands perfectly on the beast's back, pinning it with bare hands. Now watch this madness. With a smug grin, he claims first blood, ready to finish it. Hertz delivers a devastating, right proper punch straight to the jaw. The mental impact sends both the bear and monkey flying in a double takedown, leaving the massive beast absolutely roaring in agony from that hit. Landing back down, he cracks the stone floor without even sweating, and we see the monkey is completely knocked out too. 2 kings, 1 single punch. Then he casually strolls towards the final challenger without a single care, leaving just him and the quagga, the deadliest beast king, cracking his knuckles with a proper cheeky grin. Hertz admits things are finally getting proper wild. But the quagga actually speaks, asking why a rare beast like him serves humans. Our purple-haired announcer is absolutely screaming about the epic one-punch double knockout, hyping up the final showdown as Hertz faces the massive quagga beast. The quagga suddenly lunges straight forward, aiming to devour him completely in one go, massive jaws wide open, ready to turn our brilliant lad into a quick snack. And just like that, Hertz is seemingly swallowed whole, proving the Beast King's mental power. The crowd gets bored, calling the fight totally rubbish while the announcer looks gobsmacked. But I know what you are thinking, never count him out. The announcer remembers his moves. Because Hertz is actually clinging to its mane. Climbing its face like a ladder, he gives the beast a wicked smile, calling it a troublemaker. Suddenly, the crowd goes mental, cheering for the underdog. Hertz just smirks, finding their betting odds a bit raw. But honestly not giving a single toss. Still grabbing its face, Hertz decides to end this little knees up, delivering a brutal knee strike to the beast's jaw with absolutely bone-crushing force. Eyes glowing with proper power, he pulls his fist straight back. Boom, a devastating punch lands, officially ending the brawl. The impact is so immense it completely shatters the arena's stone floor, leaving Hertz landing perfectly while the very last Beast King lies out for the count. But just when he thinks his shift is done, a new lion beastman comes flying out of nowhere, crashing right onto the defeated quagga. Hertz just casually confirms he beat the bear, completely unbothered by this newbie. Meanwhile, upstairs, in the exclusive box, a similar beast is completely wrecking Elle's lads under the chef's control, finally revealing her true and absolutely terrifying intentions. Her eyes glow with sinister light, asking if Master Haiti is bored yet, before effortlessly chucking the beastman straight at him as a gift. This monster soars through the air as she tells the crime boss to catch it. His guards immediately panic, screaming for Elle to leg it as glass totally shatters. Elle, however, just turns around with pure disgust, calling her absolute scum for betraying him. The beast crashes in, tossing bodyguards like ragdolls, but Elle just looks annoyed. So what do you and I reckon? This bloke is finally proper angry now. Grabbing the beast right by the face. Alright, stick with me here. He reminds everyone exactly how terrifying he really is, single-handedly smashing the beast down with absolutely world-shaking power. Lei shatters the VIP box floor with just one massive, heavy stomp. Flexing his terrifying power, he reveals his real name is Hai, finally deciding to get his own hands dirty. Meanwhile, his hype man is totally freaking out as guards mobilize below, and a heavily armed squad of soldiers marches into the arena begging for a fight. These guys are clearly the elite unit, completely ready to crush this little rebellion once and for all. They instantly surround Hertz, who now has to deal with a very small, incredibly angry army. Up in the stands, the crowd recognizes them as Had's legendary battle unit, and they are absolutely terrified. Their leader steps right up into Hertz's face, promising that his total ignorance will lead to his death. Hertz just stands there looking completely bored, like this is a minor inconvenience at best. Suddenly, a guard charges in, only to get instantly deleted before even landing a single strike. But then the prisoners Hertz freed show up, loudly announcing they are here to help as allies. Our boy looks genuinely shocked, while one of the guards literally facepalms at this crazy new development. His new friends charge right into the brawl, telling Hertz to step back because they owe him big time. The whole place erupts into a full-blown riot, with the crowd actively mocking A for completely losing control. Up in the VIP box, La is absolutely boiling with rage, calling everyone scum and promising they will die. Now watch this closely. Amidst the chaos, Hertz decides to end things with a bang. Flashing a cocky grin, he charges straight at L, aiming to take out the big boss himself. He lands a totally devastating punch right into Lei's stomach, putting absolutely all his power behind it. But the crime lord just looks down, completely unbothered and totally unfazed by the direct hit. In fact, L just smirks, revealing that insane punch literally did absolutely nothing to him at all. L grabs our boy's fist, casually reminding him who the real monster here is. Hers coughs up blood, the massive shockwave of his own failed strike hitting him incredibly hard. Then with brutal force, Lei smashes him straight through the VIP box floor, calling him a little brat while admiring his own destructive handiwork. What kind of stunt? He even promises to use Hertz's dead body to crown himself the underworld's new king. Screaming for him to die, the crime boss prepares for the final blow, but Hers actually catches the punch with his foot, completely refusing to go down that easily. He follows up with a lightning-fast kick straight to Lei's smug face. His eyes are literally glowing with pure, unfiltered, I am not done yet energy. But this epic comeback is incredibly short-lived. Lei grabs his leg, gearing up for another strike. He screams that Hers knows nothing before driving him into the ground again. This impact is absolutely massive, completely blowing up what's left of the room. And the shockwave just keeps going, a crazy testament to Lei's insane power. Lei rises from the crater, totally mocking the pile of rubble where Hers used to be. Our boy is in rough shape, coughing up a terrifying amount of blood. For the first time, he admits he can't win, calling him a monster, but just as he's about to quit, he notices something weird. You and I didn't see this coming. His eyes widen at some golden substance, finally realizing what's actually happening here. Meanwhile, right then, Lolo is just standing there, radiating an aura of pure, unfiltered ego, only to look down and realize that his opponent has completely vanished from the crater. Lai now stands near the crater, totally convinced he's already won this little feud. But Hertz reappears in a flash, punching him right in the gut and announcing he's figured it out. And this time his punch sends the crime boss flying straight through the floor. With a confident smirk, Hers reveals that Hades' defense actually isn't that high at all, leaving the big guy totally stunned, wondering how he broke through. So our boy holds up the golden substance, calling his impenetrable defense a super cheap trick. He explains Hades just secretes a special grease to deflect the force of any attack, meaning his countermeasure was a simple two-hit combo to strip the oil away first. And with that slippery defense wiped out, the second strike landed perfectly clean. An absolutely perfect strategy. Refusing to accept defeat, Hades screams he has one last trick up his sleeve, but Hertz simply dives right back in for another attack, calling him pretty fast for a big guy, which makes the boss scream for him to stay away. Talk about a total role reversal. And that's where we leave it. Meanwhile, that traitorous chef reaches a super fancy, ornate door. Right, stick with me here, her expression is perfectly dead serious and ready to ruin someone's day. Inside, the head chef is screaming at his crew to cook Had's dinner perfectly, so she casually strolls in, announcing that since they are all utter rubbish, she will be taking over, which obviously makes the entire kitchen staff absolutely burst into raging flames of pure anger. But she blanks them, proudly declaring she is the youngest second-class chef in history. The rest of the blokes are losing their minds, telling her to stop being so cheeky. So she just drops a casual little threat, asking if they are fine with Jaddy's food being late. This rogue chef just strolls right past the kitchen staff, casually apologizing, an absolute total power move. Turns out she is actually on a top-secret presidential mission to find dodgy evidence against this joint. But she cannot find any illegal ingredients anywhere, leaving her completely gutted and clueless on what's next. Suddenly, a weird dripping noise from a nearby cabinet snaps her right out of her thoughts. Crouching down, she spots water leaking out, a classic secret passage clue. That is when she realizes there is a hidden room tucked right behind the shelf. Bingo! With a grunt, she throws her whole body into shoving the ridiculously heavy bookcase. It slides open, revealing a hidden door and confirming she was bang on the money. She just smirks at the lock, thinking something this basic is pretty much an open invitation. A couple of well-placed lockpicks later, she cracks it like an absolute pro. It pops open way too easily, making her wonder what exactly they are trying to hide inside. Looking right inside, her eyes go wide with absolute shock. Now pay attention here because she just hit the bloody jackpot, the exact piece of evidence she needed this whole entire time. It is a rare caged dream beast, a satbaku, and it looks completely and utterly miserable. She is instantly furious, grabbing the rusty bars and yelling if they are hunting them to extinction. But as she steps closer, the awful truth hits. The poor little creature is already dead. Her face goes ice cold as she boils with rage, wondering what kind of sick monsters would do this. She whispers sorry to the Baku, swearing absolute revenge right then. With fresh determination, she vows that every single illegal poacher is about to face brutal justice. Now that she has the proof, her next move is reporting everything to the president. With her evidence locked down, our chef is ready to bolt with knife in hand, but she gets instantly blocked by a guy in a suit, shorts, and a high-security scooter. What an absolute state. She ducks behind a counter, demanding to know who he is while he rants about dinner. Turns out this bloke is the head chef, aggressively blaming her for ruining Jay's appetite. She just cheekily peeks over the counter, suggesting that maybe his cooking is just straight rubbish. Which absolutely makes him lose his mind, screaming that is impossible while violently slapping some meat. To prove his silly point, you and I both saw this coming, right? He grabs his special sauce, bragging about using satbaku meat, basically confessing the entire bloody crime right then and there. She instantly stands up and confidently confirms that, yep, his food is in fact pure rubbish. The head chef finally snaps, screaming that since she knows his secret, she is dead meat. Then he gets super creepy, licking his knife, saying she would be a brilliant ingredient. But she is not impressed at all, rejecting him and trying to walk away. He lunges straight after her, promising to turn her into his next meal, which is frankly very unhygienic. This nutter charges with a wild knife swing. She dodges it easily, but he manages to slice the chef hat clean off her head, a truly, truly fatal bloody mistake. He thinks he has her cornered, calling her a fake chef for being so agile. But she just stands there completely calm, casually holding her own ponytail for a brief second. Her eyes start glowing dangerously. She explains messing with a chef's hat is the ultimate sin, then pulls out a giant piston hammer, ready to teach him some proper kitchen etiquette. She reveals the weapon is a sweet gift from her partner, perfectly designed for one lethal smack. His knife clatters to the floor, a fitting end to his very short-lived career. He instantly starts begging, telling her to cook absolutely whatever she wants. A total change of tune, but she stands her ground, boldly declaring that anyone disrespecting ingredients is not a real bloody chef. She serves up culinary justice with a piston hammer straight to the face. The result is a perfectly tenderized chunk of meat she cheekily calls a rare ingredient. Oh, mate. Even as a puddle, he promises not to be wasted. Trust me, we just witnessed absolute madness. Let's dive in. Our traitor chef is eating something she definitely did not order. Looking totally thrilled, she claims she is just taste testing, but her face is absolutely screaming, I am making a huge mistake. With grim determination, she takes a tiny lick, probably questioning every single life choice. And yeah, it is utterly disgusting, sparking a string of curses that would make a sailor blush. But wait, she feels her energy being drained, realizing this nasty meat might actually be useful, until a massive crash from the ceiling completely ruins the vibe. Fork still in hand, she is left totally bewildered by the sudden, violent interruption of her weird little dinner. And who comes crashing right through the roof? None other than Hertz, screaming for food like a possessed man. He lands, spots the meal, and drops a confused grunt. Priorities, mate. Without a second thought, he shoves her aside, yelling at her to move, and instantly starts scarfing down the chef's meat like it is a 5-star meal. Knocked to the floor, she just stares, noticing for the first time how brutally injured he is. Her eyes widen in pure disbelief as she watches him shovel it down. Now watch closely, this is where it gets wild. His injuries are literally vanishing while he eats. Steam pours off his body as he licks the meat. His wounds visibly healing in real time. He keeps stuffing his face, suddenly realizing he is getting way skinnier, a seriously confusing side effect. Despite the awful taste, Hertz feels his raw strength rushing back, blood practically bursting from his eyes. Looking absolutely shredded now, he turns to the chef, asking if she cooked this masterpiece. Right then, a white-haired dude pops up, calls her Rihanna, and her cover is officially blown. This newcomer instantly asks if she found any proof about Haiti and the dream beasts. Perfect timing, buddy. Rihanna just clobbers him with a frying pan, scolding him for having zero situational awareness. She then tries playing dumb, asking Hertz if he would believe she has no clue who this guy is. Hertz, smacking his hand with pure, unhinged rage, completely loses his mind, screaming he will grind them into minced meat for mocking him. While her partner just smirks at how furious Hertz is getting, Rihanna is already screaming at them to run. So the duo barely manages to dodge, while Hertz's massive temper tantrum absolutely trashes the room. Standing in the rubble, Hertz thanks them for reminding him of his old self before promising to kill them. Rihanna screams for her partner to protect her as ordered, but he casually says he probably can't. With a beastly roar, Hertz throws a brutal punch, totally determined to end this right now. But the white-haired guy catches the strike with one hand, the impact literally shattering the air around them. You and I know catching a punch is peak disrespect. He even compliments Hertz's strength, before declaring he won't lose, throwing a ruthless straight kick right at Hertz's head. Hertz catches the foot, though, grabbing the guy's face with an absolutely bone-crushing grip. And while his face is being squished, the guy jokes the attack felt like a nice massage right before getting slammed. This white-haired dude flips backward from the hit, telling Hertz he should be grateful for the lesson, then immediately follows up with a lightning-fast kick straight to Hertz's face, which sends our boy stumbling backward while his opponent lands perfectly on his feet, leading to a classic stare down where both fighters accuse each other of being all talk. Right then, a maid peeks in, somehow thinking Haiti is dominating Hertz. Yeah, girl, maybe get your eyes checked. Convinced her boss needs a serious power buff, she decides to hurry up and cook a dream beast dish. But with Jay blocking the main entrance, she can't get into the sealed room, so she just stops at a random wall, totally ready for some light demolition work instead. She pulls out her own piston hammer, revving it up for a major unscheduled renovation, and with a mighty yell swings the weapon with everything she has, totally obliterating the wall into a huge cloud of dust and rubble. Coughing through the thick smoke, she looks pretty proud of her handiwork, because on the other side is exactly what she wanted, another caged dream beast. She apologizes to the poor creature, promising that its sacrifice will absolutely not be in vain. Then she slaps on her chef hat, asking the beast to lend its strength for the meal. It is straight into the kitchen after that, where she expertly starts slicing up the rare meat, arranging the paper thin cuts onto a plate as the very first step of her recipe. Next, she sears the slices in a wok over a roaring high-heat flame, Trust me, you're gonna want to see what happens after she adds her special seasoning. Stick with me here, guys. She strains the mix into a bottle, making the ultimate power juice. Our maid does this super dramatic leap off the ruined building, totally ready to deliver her special brew. Meanwhile, Haiti pumps himself up, admitting Hertz used to be a champ, but losing isn't an option. But then this wild aroma floats by, completely grabbing his attention. He's practically drooling, wondering what that incredible, energy-boosting smell is. It's the maid. She lands and literally yells at Hertz to drink it so he can one-shot Haiti. Wait a minute, that isn't the plan. Flashing a super confident smile, she tosses the bottle straight at the villain, screaming for him to catch. And Hertz easily snatches the power juice right out of the air. He gives the maid this knowing look, casually complimenting her cooking skills, which totally makes Haiti freak out. The maid realizes her massive mistake but stays completely unfazed. Hertz smirks, totally loving how good it smells, and gets ready to chug. And he just downs the entire bottle without a second thought. Only for a literal laser beam to shoot from his eye. He's screaming for water because it's absurdly spicy. The maid just giggles, revealing the whole thing was a decoy made of ultra-spicy peppers. Perfect distraction. Watch closely while Hertz is down. She tosses the real drink to Haiti, her actual boss. Haiti catches it with a triumphant grin, finally ready for his proper buff. He pops the cork on the real brew with a super satisfying sound and downs the sparkling mix without hesitating. His face contorting, instantly turning into pure bliss as he hypes up how amazing it tastes. He feels his body rejuvenating. Like his broken bones are literally being rebuilt. Pure energy starts crackling right down his spine as the epic power-up takes full effect. With his shirt ripped, red lightning crackles across Hades' chest. As the buff wraps up, a fiery aura just explodes around him, officially confirming he has finally hit level 2 dream power. Absolutely wild. Flashing a smug grin, he declares it's payback time for that beatdown Hertz gave him earlier. But Hertz is absolutely furious, his single eye glowing with unbridled rage. He's totally losing it, screaming about trying his absolute hardest while still stuck at level 1. Meanwhile, some blonde chick watches from a tree, totally mistaking Haiti for Hertz and praising his massive power. 10 out of 10 observation skills. A super quick lore drop explains the power system, noting level 2 basically turns your entire body into walking poison. Completely ignoring that massive power gap. Hertz lunges forward screaming that he will not lose everything he worked for, but Haiti casually snaps his weapon with one hand, roasting Hertz's definition of hard work. He spins the blade, pointing out that Hertz has literally been bench warming for an entire decade. This totally strikes a nerve. Hertz screams that Haiti knows nothing about his struggle to level up. Hearing this, Hades' face actually softens, remembering his own master's heavy words. There is no future for someone who gives up. So he simply asks Hertz what his real dream is. You and I both know this is therapy time. This question completely throws Hertz off, forcing him to actually think. It triggers a flashback of a younger Hertz and his buddy standing right in front of a massive mountain range. They're both stoked. His blonde friend Vian is cheering that their dream is finally super close. But the vibe entirely shifts when Hertz suddenly grabs onto his best friend's backpack strap. His tone going super grim, he apologizes, telling a totally blindsided Vian that he can't keep going with him. Vian is completely baffled, reminding Hertz about their epic plan to find the rarest dream beast together. But with this genuinely pained look, Hertz explains that people don't hate them for being weak. It's because they're broke. He argues the world will always treat them like total losers. But Vian just smiles, asking why they need anyone's validation when the adventure itself is the real prize. Hertz absolutely snaps, yelling that a dream is totally worthless without real success. Flashing a freezing cold glare, he declares that cash and power are the only things that matter. Vian watches him walk away, calling the name Haiti with a totally heartbroken expression. Then he locks in on his own path, swearing to reach the top no matter what. He looks at the peak, determined to explore the world and prove his absolute worth. And Hertz's memory completely twists, recalling how he told Vian to carry their massive dream for both of them. Snapping back to the present, he admits to Haiti that he traded absolutely everything for power and greed. His hands start glowing as he doubles down, claiming he will chase whatever he can get since his struggles were totally pointless. So what do we learn here? Haiti schools him, proving dream power needs true belief, not cold hard cash. Stick with me, mate. This little lesson just makes Hertz absolutely lose his mind. He unleashes a bloody massive barrage of fireballs, screaming that power levels mean absolutely nothing if you're already dead. Meanwhile, he just gracefully dodges the fiery onslaught, landing perfectly on a rock with a cheeky look that practically screams, "Is that all you've got, mate?" He even praises Hertz, noticing he's gotten quite a bit stronger in just a few short minutes. Getting utterly arrogant, Hertz brags he's just warming up and his next attack will be totally unstoppable. Then he charges one final blast, promising Jai a massive, flashy cremation, but he freezes. Someone is right behind him. It's the clueless maid from earlier, just giggling and telling him to ignore her. Classic timing, right? Right during his bloody assassination attempt. Hertz smirks since she knows his dodgy secret she's not leaving alive. With a mad shout, he blasts a deadly little energy bullet straight at her face. She screams for someone named Kuro, desperately summoning a magic shield, but the attack just rips straight through a massive hole in the middle, truly useless defense. Watch closely now, mate. As the blast approaches, she realizes exactly who Hertz really is. But Haiti appears at the absolute last second, scooping her up and dodging the blast zone, leaving the maid absolutely staggered by the dramatic rescue. Now totally safe in his arms, Haiti just gives her a casual hello, like absolutely nothing happened. She's clearly flustered by the close contact, blushing furiously red. Then her gratitude instantly turns to pure rage, strangling him for being late. Brilliant priorities. Watching this whole romantic comedy unfold right in front of him, Hertz is literally grinding his teeth in absolute fury. So he screams at them to stop flirting and unleashes a massive wave of attacks, sending a brilliant storm of fiery projectiles raining right down onto their roof. While she screams at him to dodge, JD just calmly tells her to trust him. And he doesn't even flinch as she asks what on earth he's doing. Because a massive energy field erupts around them, effortlessly blocking the entire blazing barrage. Jay just looks up with a heavy sigh, apologizing for the mess like it's a minor bother, even promising to make it up to her later while under heavy fire. His expression finally hardens though. Ready to resume the brawl, he turns to hers, cheekily apologizing for keeping him waiting for his proper beating. Hertz is utterly gobsmacked that Hai dodged all his attacks. "You saw that coming, right?" Our lad winds up with an arrogant grin, revealing a cheeky new move he's been hiding away, which he unleashes with one massive explosion, smashing his fist straight into Hertz's chest, creating a brutal shockwave that completely shatters the ground and kicks up heaps of rubble. Coughing on the floor, Hertz learns that strike was meant to totally scramble his internal organs. Lovely stuff. Despite the heavy damage, he tells Haiti to come closer, claiming he has one last bloody secret to share. But Hai doesn't buy it for a single second, instantly calling out the obvious dodgy trap. Right on cue, the ground erupts. A massive cage shoots up from the rubble around them, slamming shut in an absolute instant and trapping Haiti entirely inside its metal bars. Our boy has a moment of pure self-loathing, realizing he literally just fell for the oldest bloody trick in the book. While Hurt absolutely gloats, calling him a proper idiot for thinking he wouldn't have backup. He reveals this cage is made of swamp snake bones, supposedly completely unbreakable even for a level 2. So he actively taunts Haiti to surrender, claiming the guards are on their way to nick him at any second now. Haiti, however, calmly informs him that his backup isn't coming, without a single shred of worry on his face. Because a massive explosion suddenly lights up the distant sky, so much for those guards. With a psycho grin, Hertz reveals he planted bombs everywhere to kill all witnesses, stepping closer to promise that soon, nobody will be left to expose his dodgy crimes. Absolutely furious, Haiti screams that he won't get away with this, rattling the bloody bars furiously, putting all his boosted strength into bending the cage to break free. But then he simply stops, looking completely baffled, like he just noticed something totally weird. Haiti checks the floor of the cage, realizing it's literally just plain, ordinary old stone. Hertz, meanwhile, blames dodgy contractors for the bad quality while launching another attack. What a bloody professional. Trust me, stick around. Fiery projectiles rain down as he screams for Haiti to just die. Stick with me here. Haiti flashes a cheeky smile, reminding Hertz his own attacks could not even break the cage. This obviously makes Hertz completely lose his absolute mind with pure rage. His eyes lock onto the maid trying to escape, and he decides to eliminate the poor witness first. So he just starts blasting a massive energy beam straight at her. What a total gentleman. Panicking hard, Haiti struggles like crazy, trying to bust out of his cage to save her in time. He literally rips the entire cage off its base. He uses it as a massive shield, taking the full force of that blast meant for the maid. Because that is just his style. The whole metal chunk slams down, leaving a huge, dusty crater in the dirt, and through all that thick smoke, someone starts coughing. It is Haiti, completely spotless. He casually tells the maid she is looking good from inside his totally wrecked cage. She is definitely not amused, snapping back that his reckless hero complex is going to get her killed someday. But their little bickering gets cut off by a massive roar echoing across the city rooftops. Suddenly, a giant green-striped tiger creature leaps right into the scene with absolute lightning speed. It lands super smoothly on a nearby roof, kicking up a massive cloud of tiles and dust. Now pay attention here. The beast unleashes a powerful roar, blasting pure energy that conveniently clears away all the smoke, leaving the battlefield totally wide open for everyone. The maid actually recognizes it as a tempest tiger. Then she casually mentions it is her sister's mate, which is a totally normal flex. Right on cue, a convoy of armored jeeps comes flying into the scene with absolutely zero chill. They crash land hard, kicking up a massive storm of dust and rubble. A whole squad rolls out, looking like they are here to shut this party down forever. A brand new ginger kid with face tattoos is literally crying tears of relief. Shocked someone is actually still alive. But he is actually staring right at Haiti, gloating that he has finally cornered our boy for good. He drops a classic villain monologue, swearing to never forget this and promising to return for his epic revenge. Dropping one final threat, he spins around for a dramatic exit, only to smash face first straight into the cage that Haiti is holding up like a makeshift brick wall. This bloke totally loses his mind, screaming at Haiti for ruining his incredibly cool escape plan. Haiti calmly explains that while he cannot fight right now, he can definitely be a massive pain in the neck. Our boy starts lecturing him about taking responsibility for his crimes, which just makes the ginger lad furiously angry. So he desperately tries to bribe his way out, offering cash and fame if Haiti surrenders. But Haiti is totally unimpressed, telling him he does not make deals with cheap thugs. What an absolute roast. Right then, proper soldiers start pouring out of the jeeps. A whole company charges forward with rifles ready, clearly serving as backup. They quickly surround the cage while the ginger looks extremely smug. You and I both saw this twist coming, right? Thinking he won, he orders them to fire at Haiti, but instead of bullets, a massive net shoots straight at him, wrapping him perfectly, leaving the guy entirely tangled and totally confused. He just starts screaming in pure rage, fully trapped by the stupid net from his very own backup squad. The ginger bloke is fully losing the plot, screaming about his hand while completely tangled up in his backup's massive net. A new guard captain steps up, calmly explaining the net is woven from dream beast thread and is way tougher than solid steel. This guy Biss from the gourmet unit adds that not even a massive beast could break free. Total pro energy. Then another woman pops up, pointing out they have all the proof they need, including a dead creature nearby. With a cold, focused glare, Biss confirms their target is officially out of lucky options. He then turns towards Haiti, holding up a wanted poster and rattling off the captured villain's absolute laundry list of crimes. While his men drag the ginger away, the bloke keeps screaming furious threats about getting revenge on every single one of them. Biss then shifts his attention to Haiti and the maid, who are still awkwardly stuck inside that totally wrecked cage. While Haiti begs to be let out, the maid seems to love this, telling Biss to just keep him locked away. Without saying a single word, Bis just grabs the hilt of his sword, ready to solve this little problem. He unleashes a massive, insanely clean slash right through the solid bars of the cage to set them free. And the incredibly thick metal bars just fall straight to the dirt, cleanly sliced completely in half. Hades celebrates his freedom with a triumphant laugh, while the maid just calls him a complete idiot, totally unbothered. That is where we leave it. Bis praises them, saying their infiltration completely exposed the villain's whole operation. Let's dive right into this, mate. Turns out his master actually requested all this, wanting Addy investigated. Cheeky right when Bis asks what he is digging into. Addy admits he is tracking the Dream Beast supply chain. He explains the maid, whose name is Runa, was actually the first one to notice the ingredient scents getting super weak. Following that foodie trail led him straight to this village, suspecting a solid link to his newly busted mate. Runa chimes in, pointing out that the villain's rare dream beasts were just suspiciously weak knockoffs. Apparently, aside from the dead creature, the rest were pure show, not even put up for sale. Addy is still scratching his head over the villain's supply chain, wondering where these ingredients even originated. He asks Bis if they ever tracked down his connections, since his own intel on the beast supplier hit a massive dead end. Bis, however, drops a bomb. There are two seriously weird pieces of info that might just link up. So our boy immediately demands he spill the tea, getting hilariously intense about the whole thing. Now watch this closely, guys. 6 months ago in Gourmet Town, local thugs just vanished without a trace. When the Gourmet Squad investigated, they found the place absolutely shredded by massive claws. Analysis confirmed it was a stupidly powerful dream beast. Addy is absolutely gobsmacked. A massive beast managed to shatter the city defenses just to wipe out some street-level thugs. But here is the crazy twist. Bis explains he checked the steel walls himself and they were completely untouched. Zero damage. The whole squad is baffled, trying to solve the mystery of a ghost beast that totally ignores doors. Addy is visibly stressed, the gears in his head grinding to an absolute halt over this impossible puzzle. He is sweating buckets trying to connect the dots. Then his brain just straight up short circuits, screaming that his head is about to explode. The blonde squad is so not impressed. Suddenly, the captured villain calls out to Master Addy, grabbing everyone's attention instantly. The blondes get stars in their eyes straight away, begging to know if he has the inside scoop. The redhead just completely scoffs, refusing to talk and acting like a tough bloke while literally tangled in a net. That cheeky bravado lasts 2 seconds before Bis presses a sword straight against his throat, calmly advising him not to waste their time with this pathetic little tough guy routine. The villain instantly starts panicking, desperately trying to play the whole "it is federally illegal to kill me" card. Bis just shoots him a freezing glare, promising he absolutely will not break the law, which somehow sounds a million times more terrifying. Bis then points straight at the giant, totally starving Tempest Tiger standing right behind them. You and I know exactly what comes next. He casually mentions how tragic an accidental beast attack would be, giving Addy a cheeky look, basically asking for his professional opinion on this totally random tragic accident. The redhead's tough guy act instantly vaporizes, and shocker, he starts screaming that he will spill everything. He blurts out a story about some mysterious man in black offering him rare dream beasts in secret. A bloke who also slaughtered his entire crew just to make sure the message was received loud and clear. Bis cuts straight to the chase, demanding to know this mysterious supplier's ultimate endgame. But the redhead swears he was just told to eat the beasts and fight in the arena, nothing else. He remembers the terrifying sight of a desert packed with monsters, knowing he was totally outclassed. Having grabbed what he needed, Bis coldly orders his mates to drag the bloke away. Addy is completely lost, so Bis drops the second clue, a bloke who popped out of a sewer 6 months ago. This sewer dweller had zero powers, but was an absolute gambling prodigy, building a massive empire from his winnings. When Addy asks for a name, Bis reveals their shiny new person of interest is a man named Agre. The scene snaps to a flashy casino packed with roulette tables and intense high-stakes card games. A super posh joint with bunny girls serving drinks to all the loaded high rollers. Inside, someone is absolutely gobsmacked by what they are seeing, clutching their collar in pure disbelief. Their shock echoes across the room, totally unable to believe their own eyes. They are completely convinced that what they are witnessing is impossible. That this person cannot be human, because Agre is just chilling there like a king, effortlessly winning every single game. With that cheeky smirk, he knows the game is over. Stick around, we are just getting started. Right, stick with me here. Agri shoves a mountain of chips forward, smiling like an absolute madman, and his opponent completely freezes in pure terror from the pressure. So Agri gets cheeky, asking the poor bloke if he is scared of losing, completely mocking the idea. Then he just throws his head back and lets out this massive villain laugh. Apparently, the thought of him actually losing is the funniest joke ever. With a bored look, he casually plays with his chips, just waiting for his inevitable win. He flashes a terrifying smile, making it clear that losing became totally impossible the second he sat down. His desperate opponent, completely out of options, decides to cheat using his dream power. But zap, a flash of light instantly fries his hand before he even makes a move, leaving the bloke screaming in absolute agony, while Agri calls him out for being a filthy cheater. And as the dice are revealed, he coldly reminds him that he just broke the rules. Suddenly, a new voice asks if Agri guessed the roll just by hearing the dice. It is a white-haired lad with Runa right behind him, stepping up to challenge the casino king, which instantly grabs Agri's full attention. Looking a bit annoyed by the interruption, he asks the newcomer if he even understands what they are actually betting here. Now watch closely with me here. He reveals a cage holding a vicious, bat-like dream beast with glowing red eyes, followed by another cage hiding a massive, hissing snake creature that is ready to strike. And just to complete this absolute nightmare trifecta, a giant, hideous red spider crab monster. Agri calmly sips his wine, explaining that these are dream beasts carrying some seriously deadly poison. He casually adds that eating them might give you powers, or you could just drop dead. Perfectly fair bet. Agri explains the loser becomes bug chow, but hey, a professional chef apparently lowers the death rate just a tiny bit. He is not just betting cash, he is offering a chance at real power, which is apparently way more exciting. Here is the deal: win the game, eat the poisoned dish, and if you survive, you get to be his new underling. That poor loser, though, fed straight to the bugs with a 99% chance of death. But there is a tiny chance to power up, so it is totally fair. He calls it a win-win, since every death just boosts the next guy's odds. What a brilliant philanthropist. Haiti is absolutely disgusted, calling him out for exploiting people's desperate ambitions just to get stronger. But Agri just leans back, claiming he is not breaking any laws, and tells Haiti to play or bugger off. Oh, he is in, but he is not betting for power. I know what you're thinking. What does he want? He wants info on Agri's sewer rat days. With a sharp glare, he asks if he is ready for real stakes. Agri just scoffs at the challenge, saying he absolutely cannot stand blokes who actually think they can beat him at his own game. So he lets Haiti choose the game, who instantly picks poker, getting right down to business. A cheeky bunny dealer skillfully tosses a card. The high-stakes match is officially on, with Agri fully accepting the terms. He is totally intrigued by Haiti's baseless confidence, and so ready to watch him fail. Those first 3 cards are placed face down, setting the stage for the showdown. Looking bored stiff, Agri tells Haiti to make his move, totally relaxed. Haiti flips his cards, revealing he already has a pair of kings to kick things off, which gets a smug little smirk from Agri, who mockingly praises the hand as not too bad. In response, Haiti just shoves his entire mountain of chips right forward, going all in without a second thought. This genuinely shocks Agri, who asks if our boy even knows the rules of the game he picked. Haiti admits he is no gambler, but he knows this will be a massive pain if it drags on, challenging the gambling god to bet it all right now. With a smug grin, Agri decides to give Haiti a little demo of the casino rules, and his goons immediately start dragging away that poor bloke. The guy who tried to cheat earlier, he kicks and screams to be let go, but casino security really isn't big on mercy here. As they shove him into a cage holding a giant purple scorpion, his face says it all. That massive stinger goes straight for his neck before he can even blink. So much for a warning shot. A nasty close-up shows the literal venom getting pumped straight into his system. The bloke is already convulsing in absolute agony, clearly on his way out for good. So what do you and I take from this? Haiti watches with cold eyes, not flinching for a second. Let's jump right in and watch this madness. In a split second, he snatches a kitchen knife from a waitress and hurls it across the room with absolutely insane aim. He completely nails the scorpion right through the tail, while the waitress totally panics over her missing knife. She threatens to kill him for that later, but Haiti just tells her the poisoned guy's life is entirely in her hands now. So she pulls a mysterious potion right out of her cleavage, because yeah, of course that is where she kept it. She quickly gives the dying man the antidote, moving fast like an absolute total pro. A bright golden light erupts and the guy gets miraculously healed. Shocking the whole crowd, some guy in the audience coughs to get attention, but nobody even looks. Why? Because the cheating sap is sitting there completely dumbfounded that he is actually breathing. The waitress reveals she used a super rare Baku extract that cancels out poison and unlocks hidden potential. Haiti just flashes a smile, pointing out that since the guy survived, they technically followed all the rules. Agre looks pretty impressed, calling him a big spender before coldly reminding him that it is his turn. Agre matches the bet with an arrogant smirk, shoving his chips forward and loudly declaring that he is going all in too. But when the cards flip over, Haiti and his pair of kings are absolutely no match for the pair of aces Agre is holding. Game completely over. The crowd goes wild while Agre soaks up the win, telling Haiti to be a good little loser now that he is completely finished. The guy even has the nerve to thank him for the show, promising to pick a nice grave for him. Haiti just shrugs. Now pay close attention here. He casually pulls something from behind his ear, revealing one last trick, a single hidden poker chip. Agre just laughs at the pathetic attempt, telling him to give up and let himself get eaten already. But our boy is not backing down, coldly declaring he has not lost yet and telling him to deal the next hand. Agre drops a pair of eights but gets crushed by Haiti dropping tens. Just like that, the bunny dealer announces Haiti as the round winner. Agre immediately tries to save face, claiming he just let him win out of pity. Sure you did, buddy. Haiti just keeps winning hand after hand, completely wiping that smug look right off of Agre and his face. The cards just keep falling in his favor. Winner echoes straight through the casino, leaving the crowd absolutely speechless while their so-called gambling god gets backed into a corner. Haiti looks cooler than ever with Runa by his side, casually mentioning that Lady Luck is just on his side today. This sends Agre into a complete meltdown, pointing fingers and screaming that it is impossible while accusing Haiti of cheating. With a knowing smirk, Haiti throws the accusation right back, asking who the real cheater is. Then he drops Agre and his big secret. The entire casino is actually covered in a massive web of his psychic power, giving him a direct line to read everyone and their thoughts before they even make a move. Haiti exposes absolutely everything. I know what you're thinking. Agre was never a god, just a manipulator rigging the game. Haiti points right at Agre, officially calling him out as the true master of cheating. But Agre completely loses his mind, screaming that his success is pure skill and the accusations are totally baseless. So Haiti casually drops that he lost the first round on purpose, just to figure out the psychic cheat code. Then with a mocking grin, he dares the self-proclaimed god to try winning now that his dirty secret is out. This makes Agre snap his fingers, deciding it is time to lock the doors and handle this little mess quietly. Immediately, his armed thugs block off the exits with swords drawn, turning the whole casino into a cage. They all look way too hyped to start slicing up some unwanted guests. Agre asks if he struck a nerve, but our boy calmly says he just had a tiny epiphany. The villain and his brilliant master plan: kill everyone, burn the place down, and be the only lucky survivor. Runa shoots him a worried look, asking Haiti if he seriously has this whole crazy situation under control. And he just admits he was bluffing the entire time, revealing he did not even have a pair that hand. This throws Agre into a blinding rage, smashing the table and screaming at them not to mess with him. Then he lunges forward, swearing to kill them all while throwing a massive storm of cards at their faces. But in a flash, Hades pulls Runa behind him, taking the full impact of the brutal attack himself. He tells her to handle the weak minions because this boss guy is all his, so arrogant. So Runa is more than happy to follow those orders, jumping up and firing her triple snake strike to block any interference. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around to see how this ends. Alright, jump in with me. Agray's goons are getting absolutely demolished by an attack they clearly can't handle. Hades totally roasts Agray for his poorly trained underlings, but the villain just swears he'll kill them both. So with that, these two absolutely launch themselves at each other for one final, explosive showdown. Agray's razor card storm comes flying, but Hades dodges the barrage like it is nothing. Our boy lands with a completely unbothered smile, totally ignoring this literal paper-cut apocalypse. He spins into a high kick, forcing Agray to actually back up for the first time. This makes Hades realize the guy is definitely still reading his every single move. But Agray is just getting started. The casino boss taunts him, asking if he has enough blood to survive this fight, but Hades just coldly fires back that his little card tricks are officially useless now. So Agray unleashes an even more massive storm of flying cards, yelling at him to stop acting tough, and this time they actually connect, slicing up Hades' arms and legs. Agray watches in pure disbelief as Hades just stands there tanking the hits head-on. He realizes the kid is flexing his muscles to catch the cards like some crazy human pincushion. That level of crazy is enough for Agray to decide it is time for a tactical retreat. Gotta live to scam another day, right? Too bad for him. Hades grabs his arm, asking if he saw that coming. Now pay attention. With a totally terrifying smile, he asks if he saw this next punch coming too. That answer is a massive no, judging by Agray's freshly rearranged face anyway. Rune pops up asking if he finished, while Hades cheerfully greets the unconscious villain. What a guy. She checks on the goons, who were just normal people, then asks Hades if he is hurt. He just laughs it off like a tiny scratch while literally pulling playing cards out of his own flesh. With Agray locked in a tight headlock, Hades threatens to give him 1,000 paper cuts until he spills his secrets, which instantly works. Agray starts his sob story about being a starving homeless guy 6 months ago, until he followed this mysterious, powerful scent that led him straight down into a dirty sewer. He explains that against all logic, his body moved completely by itself. Straight into the sewer, there he found a massive swarm of monster rats tearing each other apart in a frenzy. And Hades just casually listens, holding the now pathetic villain while he completely spills the beans. This crazy flashback shows Agray totally surrounded and terrified by these glowing-eyed sewer beasts. All of them violently fighting over a single drop of glowing red blood suspended midair. He realized with a shock that he was just as hypnotized by the blood as they were. So he starts stomping his way right through the horde, because squashing rats never hurt anybody, right? He finally reaches out his hand and violently snatches the mysterious, glowing blood drop for himself. Then he just lets it drip directly onto his head, which is definitely a massive health code violation. Back in the present, he finishes the story saying he chugged the dirty sewer water he fell into and barely escaped. I know what you're thinking. Hades is stunned too, asking if that blood drop actually awakened his dream power. And Agray confirms it worked perfectly, looking way too proud of his incredibly gross sewer origin story. Changing the subject, Hades holds up one of those poisonous bugs and asks where he got it. So Agray instantly snitches, blaming a mysterious guy in a black robe for absolutely everything. That detail rings a bell for Hades, who realizes this black-robed man is becoming a serious recurring problem. Then he calls over the waitress Hertz, who has been standing by the scorpion cage this whole time. She walks over looking completely unamused, asking what on earth he could possibly want now. In her hand is a massive butcher knife, and she looks ready to settle that knife debt permanently. She starts spinning it at terrifying speed, creating a literal steel tornado that transforms into a giant purple stinger just like the scorpions. Okay, yeah, she is definitely not just a normal waitress. That crazy knife stinger glows with a seriously menacing aura. looking way more dangerous up close. But Haiti just grabs it, takes a deep sniff, comments on its unique smell, and then literally licks the whole thing, because of course he does. His professional opinion: it is delicious and tastes exactly like a poisonous scorpion naturally. He even helpfully explains it makes a great training laxative, a sentence absolutely nobody asked for. Hertz quickly confirms its identity, but points out this scorpion is way too huge to be a normal dream beast. As a chef, she knows her ingredients, and this one has a bizarre claw pattern. What do you and I make of this? Haiti looks closer, agreeing that flower design shouldn't be there. Trust me, you will love this. Hertz concludes this beast is artificial, crossed with something stronger. Agri steps up, claiming that smell matches the sewers perfectly. Haiti gets right in his face, demanding if he's absolutely positive, and the guy swears on his life it's true. With this massive clue, Hertz declares they need to check the sewers for the source. Agri pathetically asks if he's off the hook now, and Haiti cheerfully replies, of course, which is never a good sign. Free basically meant leaving Agri's whole crew tied up, hanging from the ceiling. Down in the sewers, Haiti notices the water is suspiciously clean, without a single powerful monster. Hertz finds that super weird too, considering this was supposed to be the arena for Agri's rat battles. Pretty soon, they stumble on a massive decorated door, and Haiti catches a strange noise from inside. Hertz is instantly grossed out, complaining that a top chef has zero business in such a nasty place. So Haiti just tells her to play lookout while he heads in solo. He squeezes through a tight, incredibly cramped tunnel, complaining the whole way until spotting a light. Haiti steps into the chamber, totally confused about where he ended up, as rushing water echoes loudly through the cave. Looking ahead, he spots the source, guarded by a weirdly buff rat statue. You know, just your completely normal everyday sewer decorations. Now watch closely. This isn't a sewer, it's a secret underground temple with crazy waterfalls. Haiti is totally mind blown that this massive structure was hiding right under the food district. Then he catches a weird scent in the air, something sweet yet oddly familiar. Realizing it's coming straight from the water, he links it to that smell Agri mentioned earlier. Our boy hesitates for a second because honestly it's still sewer water. Meanwhile, Hertz is rocking a full hazmat suit, totally judging him. So Haiti dramatically begs Runa for her snake powers, acting like this is a massive life or death mission. His snake spirit wraps around him in a flash. Ready to make herself useful, coiling super tight, she shifts from bright red to dark purple, creating a custom-fitted wetsuit complete with a fishbowl helmet. Problem totally solved. Completely shielded up, he's hyped and ready to roll, telling Hertz it is time to dive in. With that, he plunges right into the glowing blue water, and instantly his eyes lock onto something entirely unexpected down there. At the very bottom sits a massive chained cage surrounded by nosy fish, holding a giant, glowing purple heart pulsing with some crazy wild energy. I know what you are thinking, whose heart is this, and why is it locked up down here? As he gets a bit closer, a totally hypnotized sewer rat swims straight for the cage, drawn by the heart's power. That exact same rat from before jams its face right through the heavy bars. Desperate for a taste, it actually bites a chunk off, sending purple blood splashing everywhere. Absolutely lovely. Looking closer, that glowing heart is getting completely shredded by these mutant sewer locals. And Haiti just floats there, completely grossed out by this bizarre underwater all-you-can-eat buffet. He drifts nearer to get a better look at the absolute carnage inside the cage. Swimming up and realizing it is not just rats, the entire aquatic neighborhood pulled up. Even the fish are losing their minds, crashing the cage to get in on the action. And that poor heart is getting absolutely demolished in this insane underwater feeding frenzy. Our guy just watches, totally unable to process this madness. Then one blood drop escapes the cage. Noticing it does not dissolve, he figures they should probably test it at the lab. He pulls out a glass vial for a sample, but suddenly gets a seriously bad vibe. That sudden spike of danger instinct makes him whip his head straight up toward the surface. Right then, Hertz is causing a huge commotion up above, as a massive swarm of demonic-looking bats pours out from a dark ceiling hole. They immediately dive bomb straight down at Hertz, who understandably starts screaming her absolute lungs out as the water's surface violently erupts. As the bat monsters dive in, Haiti breaches the water, screaming at them to back off like they care. In a flash, he yanks Hertz away. Stick with me to see what happens next. Let's dive right in. Holding her, he drops that classic cheeky hero smile and asks if she's all right. Obviously. With the bats swarming, Haiti decides it's power-up time. He unleashes some wild transformation, and a solid gold shield instantly pops out of thin air to block the incoming mob. It forms a safe bubble around him and Hertz, right as the beasts crash into it. This isn't just a handful of bats, by the way. It's an entire bloody army trying to smash through. Outside that shield, the ruined snakes are going absolutely mental, just shredding the horde to bits. So Hertz tells Haiti she's got the defense sorted, leaving him free to go all out on the attack. Our lad gives a cheerful thumbs up, promising to finish this quick. Zero fear, pure confidence. He quickly clocks that the bats aren't just attacking them. They are all aiming for that single drop of blood. One of them, a seriously nasty-looking leader bat, snatches the prize. After swallowing the blood, it instantly buffs up like it is on sewer rat steroids. This absolute unit is massive now, a proper mini-boss for their little sewer holiday. Their shiny barrier actually starts cracking under this heavy new pressure, leaving Hertz completely gobsmacked by this ridiculous power jump. Just then, a weird green light shoots from that creepy rat statue. The beefed-up bat lands right on it, soaking up even more bizarre spooky energy. Watch closely now. This thing looks like a proper final boss from a budget horror game. Hertz is absolutely terrified, explaining this was just a basic dream beast from miles away, making Haiti wonder if it leveled up through pure cannibalism, or if that mystery blood is just insanely overpowered. Either way, though, he's not waiting around to find out. He dashes straight at the monster, catching its claws mid-swing and stopping the attack dead. Flashing a truly savage grin, he dares the beast to show him what that blood can actually do. This swole bat dives straight for Haiti, claws out and ready to shred, but gets absolutely and completely demolished, sent flying sideways into the brick wall with one massive, echoing crash. Haiti lands gracefully after the takedown, not even sweating over the crumpled monster. Eyes glowing red, he just stares down at the beaten freak, totally unimpressed by its little power-up. Then, suddenly, a dodgy black-robed hand reaches from the shadows, grabbing the bat and crushing it to nothing before Haiti can even blink. Sewer trip officially done, they finally step back into the daylight. Hertz smugly asks if he found anything fun down in that muck and grime. So he explains there was a massive caged heart underwater, and its blood caused all that total madness. You and I both saw that flashback, right? A dark figure fighting a very similar nasty beast. Haiti notes the bat was all bark and no bite, just like the weaklings back in his own arena. Then he casually suggests they should just pinch the heart and head out on a little road trip. Hertz, always the sensible one, reckons they should just dump this whole messy problem on the president. Our boy absolutely loves that idea, grinning and saying they should definitely give their boss some extra homework. He asks if she's ready to hunt it, since finding rare beasts is his ultimate life dream anyway. Later, skipping past a moody waterside spot, Haiti and Hertz now stand before a massive cathedral, facing off against an absolutely huge armored guardian. Haiti instantly clocks that this big bloke is pure bad news, muttering that if the heart gets nicked, his grand plans are completely ruined. The guardian drops an ultimatum: pretend you saw nothing and just jog on. And if not, he flashes a monstrous claw, promising to end them right there. They know too much, so leaving isn't an option now. A classic villain monologue, taking a battle stance. He swears they'll die right here, which is just absolutely adorable. Hertz is gobsmacked it can talk, but Haiti calmly pegs the creature as just a giant house rat. He explains it isn't actually self-aware, it's just hypnotized, and apparently rats are super gullible. Under the spell, this furry idiot thinks it's a human guard, whose only mission is protecting that heart. This just makes Haiti even more buzzing to see what kind of heart needs a brainwashed rat for security. What do we think? The rat cracks its human-looking knuckles. Warm-up is officially over. Let's jump in, he powers up, swearing to wipe them out with pure final boss energy. But Haiti, totally unimpressed, that glowing red eye is basically screaming, "You are still just a rat to me." With his fist literally glowing, he lunges forward to deliver a very personal, heavy-duty reality check. This rat monster swings a massive energy blade, but Haiti just blocks the bloody thing with his bare arm. The clash triggers a massive shockwave, sending rubble flying everywhere and forcing Hertz to brace herself. She is stunned by his speed, but Haiti figures out the hypnosis is giving this beast a temporary power boost. Hertz realizes the monster is burning through its own life force, so dragging out this brawl is their best bet. Stick with me here, the monster is totally confident it has enough juice to crush them first. It even praises Hertz for her dream beast knowledge. Honestly, a very polite threat before the real violence kicks off. Then the beast swears to kill them before its body gives out, pointing a claw for maximum dramatic effect. In response, Haiti just stomps the ground so incredibly hard that the entire floor straight up shatters into pieces. He then casually proceeds to launch a massive chunk of that floor directly into the monster's ugly face. Our boy watches with a freezing glare, completely done playing games with this hypnotized pest. With one final push, he smashes the flying debris, absolutely not holding back at all. And that massive slab of solid rock sails right towards the monster. A real get-out-of-my-way moment, zero subtlety. It connects with full force, sending the hypnotized rat absolutely flying across the entire room. And he sticks the landing perfectly. Not a single hair out of place after that cheeky little power flex. This monster actually gets back up and genuinely praises his combat skills. A mid-fight performance review. You and I have got to love it, right? Our guy smirks back, admitting a quick win is impossible, but he hates that boring defensive life. He immediately throws a kick, shouting that long fight or not, this rat is going down hard. In response, the beast unleashes a massive sweeping attack with its freakish, glowing green claw. And this energy slash carves a massive arc through the air, forcing Haiti to jump back incredibly fast. This giant rat starts taunting him for running away, cheekily asking where all that big talk went. It realizes a straight-up fist fight will not work against our boy, so it smugly announces there are far more creative ways to put someone in the grave. A single drop of nasty-looking green poison drips right from its claw, signaling. A major tactic change. That drop hits the water, instantly turning the whole pool into a toxic green nightmare. This entire floor is now a total death trap, with Haiti caught right in the middle. He is completely surrounded by the toxic fumes, wondering what kind of absolute hell this is. His opponent helpfully explains it is a super poison that can kill everything in the sewer with one drop. It even mocks him for struggling so pathetically, because villains just love being villains. Through his fading vision, Haiti realizes these vile fumes are draining every single ounce of his strength. Just as he looks up to see Hertz dropping in from above, screaming at him to hold on. Hertz, apparently packing a cracking plan for the poison with a confident "leave it to me," smacks the big red button, the universal fix-it signal. Her gadget roars to life, sucking up all those toxic green fumes like a brilliant high-tech vacuum for evil gas. And just like that, Haiti is back on his feet posing, while a golden light signals his total recovery. Hertz proudly announces that her snake-themed air purifier worked absolutely perfectly, because of course it bloody did. Then she flexes her genius brain, which our boy happily confirms with a very enthusiastic thumbs up. Now that the air is totally clean, she tells Haiti the rest is on him, and he is more than ready to get cracking. With his strength fully back, Haiti faces down the monster rat waiting for him from up high. He launches into the air, riding an energy wave straight at his opponent, and unleashes a devastating kick that looks ready to demolish the building. But the monster just summons a poison shield, because honestly, why wouldn't it have one of those lying around? That shield erupts with green energy, completely deflecting Haiti's massive attack without taking a single scratch. This rat is now surrounded by a spinning vortex of poison and water, looking like a proper full-blown boss. Haiti lands, realizing the monster condensed the poison into a solid defense, a seriously high-level, big-brain move. This beast is actually impressed he figured it out, asking who he is before going right back to monologuing. It then clenches its fist, adding that it doesn't matter since he is about to die anyway. The poison surges, totally overpowering Hertz's tiny purifier. Trust me, you are not ready for what happens next. All right, stick with me here. Her machine flashes red and she's screaming to evacuate immediately. With the purifier completely maxed out, she warns Hai to watch his back as the toxic gas rushes back in. The monster spots an opening, lunging forward with a glowing claw for the final kill. This ugly beast skips the small talk and lobs a massive ball of pure poison at Hai. But our boy is totally ready, summoning a massive energy sword to slice it clean in half. Both epic attacks collide, creating this absolutely spectacular blast of green and blue light, leaving Haiti just standing there, completely unbothered by the crazy toxic fireworks show happening. Hurt warns him that burning so much dream power is wrecking his body. The monster helpfully chimes in, bragging that its own body is totally disposable as long as it kills them. Haiti totally agrees with Hertz on this one. At this rate, they aren't just failing the mission, they are absolutely cooked. Then, suddenly, now pay close attention here. This look of intense focus crosses Hertz's face. It's like she just hatched a brilliantly terrible idea about this deadly sewer poison. Next thing we see, Jay is carrying her on his shoulders, aggressively demanding her master plan. But she just casually asks if they can reach the exit. Yeah, not exactly reassuring, right? He tells her to chill out, swearing he's going to get her out of there one way or another. Bursting with confidence, she pulls out this sick snake-shaped lighter. She promises to clear a path, flicks it on, and drops an open flame straight into the toxic gas. Our boy, still acting as her personal taxi, frantically asks what the heck she's doing. Her only response, a smug little smirk and the word art. That is never a good sign. A massive explosion instantly detonates right behind them, because apparently her definition of art is straight-up arson. This sets off a wild chain reaction, sending a massive wave of fire chasing them down the hallway. The blast launches both of them flying through the air. But Hertz calmly pops open a red umbrella. She gracefully floats down like Mary Poppins, while head completely face plants right onto the hard stone floor. A flawless landing for one of them anyway. Hert casually explains her art was just basic chemistry. The poison was highly flammable, so it exploded. She smugly adds that her fireproof umbrella totally saved her. Meanwhile, Jai is groaning, complaining that she clearly didn't care if he died. She just brushes it off, saying he is way too tough to die from a tiny explosion. What a totally caring partner. Back on the surface, they immediately get chewed out by some guy for, blowing up the sewers. He points out this is their third explosion in just 2 days. Honestly, that is a pretty impressive track record. Haiti just smirks, telling the dude he should actually be thanking them for their amazing discovery. You and I both know villains love their drama. Somewhere else in a dark, fancy room, a mysterious white-haired girl is sitting all alone playing chess. She's staring down this spiky black chess piece that looks super suspiciously like that exact monster. And through some crazy psychic feedback, the piece suddenly shatters into a million tiny fragments. A voice confirms their sewer rat is dead, so yep, that little chess piece was actually a live tracker. A guy named Leonia shows up behind her, calmly stating that it looks like they've been spotted. He gives her this super condescending head pat, musing that the local guards actually aren't completely useless after all. Just then, a maid peeks in, asking if they still need to recover that weird dream heart. But the girl says nope, it's already been destroyed and it was totally disposable for their master plan anyway. Leonia just glances to the side, noting that everything is still moving along exactly as they expected. Right on cue, an actual turtle carrying a massive tray of food comes waddling into the room. This walking buffet is apparently for a new multi-armed dude chilling on the couch. He's already stuffing his face while someone tells him the big boss wants a chat later. Herdora is patching him up as he goes full chibai mode, swearing he physically cannot eat slowly. Her face is pure confusion as she asks what the heck happened to his supposed massive injury. Inside the escort unit, Haiti flexes and reveals this massive, already healed scar on his back, the injury's source. Hers is completely blown away that he healed so fast, while our boy happily devours a giant chicken leg. They're just chilling on a fancy room sofa, with Jai completely locked in on his massive post-mission feast. You and I definitely need to see what's next. Suddenly, the sewer dude's hologram appears, sarcastically asking about their gourmet mission. All right, mate, stick with me as we watch Jad instantly point fingers, blaming Falsha for this mess. While reporting on that cheeky sewer brawl, he just keeps munching, totally ignoring the boss shouting. The boss works out the rat was remote-controlled, meaning this enemy is ancient and ridiculously overpowered. Then he asks Jed if he has ever heard of the incredibly evil-sounding Dark Abyss. Our boy looks dead serious for a split second, says nope, and asks if that actually matters. This instantly kicks off a massive dramatic history lesson about how people used to ruthlessly hunt down dream beasts. A grim flashback shows hunters parading around with a captured beast, proving just how brutal they were. These poachers apparently harvested them for absolutely everything: meat, skin, bones, and even their eggs. Their greed was so ridiculously intense that it wiped out over 100 rare species a century ago, so the boss explains he teamed up with an alliance leader to face them. Their single mission was to track down and absolutely crush this group known as the Dark Abyss. Jad interrupts to ask how old he is if this was 100 years ago, earning a loud shut up. Getting back on track, the boss says the enemy they just fought uses the exact same methods. He reveals they wiped out the Dark Abyss back then, but their leader managed to escape and vanish. Now pay close attention here. The way these villains use dream beasts proves the old evil is back. And after that incredibly serious history lesson, Jad finishes his meal with one massive, glorious burp. His reaction to this world-ending threat, leaning back with a full belly, completely chuffed and satisfied. Then he brings up the tiny little issue that he cannot exactly find them if they are hiding. But the boss dangles the ultimate bait, offering Jad a free trip to the dream beast world. That instantly grabs his attention. He whips around to Falsha, asking if she will actually let him go. The boss drops a theatrical yes, because that was his cheeky plan all along. Now both Jad and Falsha are totally hyped for the mission. So he shows them the target location, an absolutely gorgeous volcanic lake high up in the mountains. This spot is basically a 5-star resort for extremely rare dream beasts of every shape and size. Their specific target is a 6-winged crystal, which honestly sounds like a really posh crab. It is literally a flying crustacean covered in bloody jewels, because subtlety is for boring monsters. Not only is the meat delicious, but those jewels can be boiled down into a literal miracle soup. We even get a flashback of an eye-patch bloke about to taste a hot bowl of the stuff. And this soup supposedly buffs your physical stats and extends your life, a literal god-tier power-up. You and I know what happens next. The bloke immediately gains massive muscle mass, glowing with brand new power after just one sip. The boss explains this creature sheds its skin this month, which instantly short-circuits his brain as he starts screaming about how much he really wants to eat it. After that incredibly mature display, the boss calmly asks if he will take the job, playing him like a fiddle. Our boy strikes a totally heroic pose, shouting, "Leave it to me." Meanwhile, Falsha just gets a massive headache. Cut to the actual mission, and all that swagger vanishes as he struggles up a cliff, completely exhausted. Turns out he is not just rock climbing. He is dragging a massive chest on his back. Oh, the glamorous hero life. His grip on the cliff wall totally fails when the crumbling rock snaps in his hand, sending him and his comically oversized luggage plummeting straight down into the drop. And from inside the chest, Jad yells at Hertz for not climbing properly, which is just flawless logic. Then he moans about telling her not to come because the dream beast realm is way too dangerous. But she calls him a muscle-brained idiot who would be lost without her skills. While he pants from exhaustion, a flock of winged creatures circles right above them. And these gluttonous birds are apparently a mid-level threat, which is not exactly a warm welcome. Hertz points out that mid-level here could conquer the human world, so their luck is already rubbish. Right on cue. One of the greedy birds dive bombs them with an absolute piercing screech, but Hertz stands right up, points it out as a snake, and calmly says she will handle this mess. She unleashes a massive tongue whip because her whole vibe is just snakes. It instantly wraps around the diving monster neck, stopping it dead in its tracks. Without a single ounce of panic, she just tells the beast to chill out, and one hard yank sends the creature violently crashing right into the canyon wall. Hertz tags Jad next. He just smiles. Trust me, we are in for a ride. Stick with me here. With a powerful kick, he launches a huge cliff chunk at his stunned opponent. The rock bounces off the wall like a pinball of pure geological violence, and boom, it connects perfectly, smashing that glutton bird right in the face, knocking the beast out cold as it plummets from the sky. Problem solved. Now chilling on a ledge, Haiti and Hertz stare down the remaining birds, completely hyped for round two. The rest of the flock lets out a totally furious screech, clearly mad that their buddy got knocked out, but Hertz, she just smirks, announcing the main event is finally kicking off. And Haiti, always the battle maniac, just asks if they should keep climbing up anyway. Now watch this closely. A much bigger bird dives from the sky, the actual boss of this area. Hertz points out this world is no joke, looking way too excited about their incoming doom. Our boy instantly goes into full panic, begging Hertz to let him go back to the human world. So much for acting tough, but she tells him to hang on, no retreating now, plus she has a plan. Right on cue, the giant griffin lets out an ear-splitting screech, ready to strike. It swoops dead at Haiti, claws out, planning to rip him off the cliff. So on Hertz's mark, he swings the entire heavy chest they have been hauling right into the monster's face, and the impact is absolutely massive, sending the beast reeling from the sheer disrespect of getting smacked with some luggage. Its claws scrape uselessly against the rock as it completely loses balance midair, leaving Haiti to somehow grab its leg, casually pointing out how wildly dangerous that just was. Then he literally starts climbing the monster like it is a ladder. Still lugging the chest on his back, a handy diagram reveals his master plan: get eaten and slide down its throat, pure strategy. While scaling the beast, he spots one of those smaller birds from earlier. Just hovering nearby, he shoots at a cocky smirk, waving like an old buddy he is about to punch in the beak all over again. As the giant bird opens its jaws, he tells the little guy he is not invited to this party. But instead of attacking, the smaller creature whips its tail across the big bird's face. And now someone is standing right on the boss's head, with the smaller birds flying around them like loyal pets. Wait, who is this dude? Let's pause for a second. A new white-haired guy is on the bird's head. He calls out to Renee, grabs the reins, and says hold on tight for the ride. With one heavy yank, he makes the massive beast screech, bending it to his will. The bird now rockets through the sky, totally obedient to its new pilot. It soars high through the air, its long, elegant tail trailing right behind it. This guy is casually riding the exact same monster that tried killing our heroes a second ago. He is already celebrating, laughing about finally getting the hang of steering this absolute living weapon. This giant beast swerves sharply, flying exactly where he commands, but then a blonde woman pops right out of the chest and he is totally shocked to find a stowaway. She just gives the bird a soothing pat, telling it to calm down, which leaves the poor animal with a giant lump, looking absolutely terrified of its brand new master. And with that, he proudly announces the glutton bird has been fully tamed. The bird definitely disagrees. Now they are using it like a private jet, flying over a dense forest inside their little wooden box. They land in a clearing filled with other strange people, revealing a totally brand new squad. Their tamed beast quickly carries them through a super narrow canyon toward their destination. It is honestly a majestic sight, seeing this giant creature flying so peacefully under his command. The woman is completely blown away by the gorgeous scenery, while our new guy just smiles. They head straight for a massive, snow-covered mountain looming in the distance. Their bird finally touches down, kicking up a huge cloud of dust and wind. Now the two stand at the mountain's base, hyped for the next stage of their mission. This new squad's tamed bird suddenly hits the brakes, and Renee asks why. Why their ride stopped. The white-haired dude explains their mount is completely terrified of something way more insane up ahead. Then he jumps down, giving the giant beast a strict lecture on not attacking random climbers. Customer service is key, guys. With a cocky smirk, he declares that only the truly brave dare to step into this crazy world. His former ride flies off, a monster that could easily flatten an entire human city. So what do you and I make of this? Whatever scared that thing is seriously dangerous, which he finds exciting. Stick with me here, his real goal, hunting the six-winged crystal crab. Rene instantly punches his jaw, reminding him their mission is recon, not an all-you-can-eat buffet. She even headlocks him, calling out his muscle-brained logic. Calming down, she explains this crystal crab is actually super peaceful, just chilling in a volcanic lake. Apparently it just kicks back at the bottom, barely moving like some giant red rock. Because of that, most people mistake the creature for a massive underwater jewel stash. They hit the massive lake with a new crew, enjoying that epic view. One teammate isn't impressed though, pointing out it's literally just a giant, lazy crab. This makes Rene realize the gluttonous bird they met wasn't scared of the crab anyway. But our white-haired dude just cracks his knuckles, totally hyped to face whatever threat comes next. He's pumped, announcing they'll check it out anyway. Why not? So their journey continues into a beautiful, sunlit autumn forest. The duo walks through the golden woods, heading way deeper into unknown territory. They finally stop in their tracks, looking dead serious and ready to hunt. But their epic forest journey kicks off with Rene immediately stepping right into colorful monster crap. While she has a quiet meltdown, the white-haired guy just pokes it, peak maturity right. This goofy little moment gets interrupted by a massive roar. Now watch closely, the forest floor literally explodes with golden energy, announcing a crazy new threat. Our guy just smirks, saying this is bad as his personal code for this is awesome. Something huge smashes through the trees, moving way too fast. A massive saber-toothed tiger emerges from the shadows, stalking them like absolute prey. This nightmare tiger is a high-level beast, definitely not the welcome wagon they wanted. It locks eyes with them from across the clearing, muscles tense and ready to pounce. But the white-haired dude just smirks, taunting it with a "here kitty," while a demonic aura erupts behind him. They lock into an epic staring contest. Neither backs down, until the tiger just randomly faceplants onto the dirt, looking completely dazed and confused. They walk up to it and he's genuinely puzzled, asking who the heck beat him to the punch here. A closer look reveals the beast is covered in deep slashes and barely breathing. But Rene explains it was so terrified of his aura, it literally died from shock. Then she points out those fresh wounds were actually caused by the crystal crab. This makes zero sense to him, since that thing was supposedly harmless. Rene finally connects the dots here. The scared bird, the dying tiger, that docile crab is going absolutely crazy. Then, suddenly, you and I both know this lake isn't a resort anymore. The path is covered in massive skeletons, proving that crab has been busy. The white-haired guy is totally speechless at this, while Rene just stares ahead with a dark, grim expression. Looking at the absolute carnage, he realizes that peaceful crab caused this entire bone graveyard. He wonders if it ate every beast here, like what kind of iron stomach does it have? He decides they must crush it to save the ecosystem. A noble cause for a side quest, honestly. Standing in the graveyard, they finally face a crystal crab just sitting there. Our boy walks up and throws a punch, instantly noticing something feels super weird on impact. His fist shatters the shell, exploding into glowing red crystals. Turns out it's just a shed skin. What a conveniently weird discovery to make. He points out the obvious, since it's shedding, the real beast must be super weak right now. Rene's brilliant tactical response, take a quick break and prep some food. Priorities first, right? Suddenly she's in a chibai chef outfit holding a massive meat cleaver, ready to cook. The secret ingredient, one of those glowing red jewels from the smashed crab shell. She proudly shows off a jar of soup, claiming crab jewels are actually a famous delicacy. This little broth glows with an otherworldly vibe, looking way too magical to be simple soup. White-haired dude is already drooling over it, but she says they need all the jewels for the perfect recipe. That's where we leave it, she smirks, claiming only master chefs can make the ultimate crab soup. Stick with me here, our guy is throwing a massive tantrum, begging to eat right now. Meanwhile, down in that volcanic lake, tons of crystal crab shells are just sitting there. But dude literally couldn't wait and is already slurping the sample soup on the shore. Right on cue, the whole lake forms a giant multi-eyed face, and it looks absolutely furious. The ground shatters completely as the entire lake comes alive in pure rage. Our boy is sweating bullets, realizing he totally picked a fight with the wrong puddle. From the depths, the true six-winged crystal crab emerges, and it is definitely not some harmless little rock. It towers over them like a walking mountain blocking the sun. The white-haired dude just states the obvious. That thing is freaking massive. The monster charges instantly, making him wonder why it is so aggro. A massive leg smashes down, completely obliterating the exact spot they just stood on. He somehow surfs a flying chunk of rock to safety, narrowly dodging the creature's massive body, but he is left totally exposed as the beast rears up again. Now watch closely, he screams at it for targeting him, but the crab isn't even looking his way. The beast is charging straight for Hertz and that tasty soup. He smugly reminds her she broke its shell, so this is totally her fault. His gloating gets cut short when a giant claw swings right at his face. Boom, the massive hit sends them flying in opposite directions. Hertz gets blasted into the woods, quickly realizing this crab's crazy behavior is not natural at all. While he yells for her to hold on, actually looking genuinely worried. He ends up inside one of the discarded shells, just chilling with his drink. Groaning from the hit, he is just happy he didn't spill his soup. True hero priorities right there. Getting back on his feet, he explores the weird shell, sensing something is off. Suddenly, a little one-eyed critter pops out to say hi. The giant crab strikes outside, but he is totally safe, just casually kicking the wall. He laughs out loud, taunting the monster that it can't even reach him. But then he notices the crab is being weirdly careful, not just crushing it. Wondering if there is good loot inside, he looks around the dark shell and spots a mysterious shape. He finds a massive, glowing egg with a crab symbol carved into it. Everything finally makes sense. You and I both missed the clues. The crab was aggressive because it is spawning season. He is hypnotized, wondering if a six-winged baby will hatch when a strange presence radiates from the egg. Reaching out, he touches the shell, sparking some kind of crazy psychic connection. A vision of a baby crab pops up, confirming everything. Talking to the unborn beast, he softly asks the little guy if it is scared. Meanwhile, some creepy new rat guy is spying on this whole scene from above. This dude is super hyped, thinking his boss will be thrilled with a crab capture. Riene watches from shore, baffled by the crab's weird moves. Her confusion turns into pure shock as the rat guy dives straight in. She can only stare in disbelief, wondering what on earth is happening. The rat guy yells that he is taking the last crystal crab for himself and attacks. He positions himself right under the colossal beast, totally ready to strike. With ridiculous confidence, he tries to grab the mountain-sized crab with his bare hands. Riene is having a full-blown panic attack at its sheer size. Meanwhile, Rat Boy dodges crystal shards, ignoring how huge this monster actually is. He actually manages to snatch a legendary soup jewel right off the crab's back. Without a second thought, he tosses the glowing crystal up, ready to snack. But a staff flies out of nowhere, smacking the jewel away. Riene catches it, declaring no rat is stealing this loot. Rat Guy is not amused. He basically asks if she has a death wish. With a furious roar, he lunges forward, claws out, ready to shred her for it. She is clearly outmatched, screaming for hers to come help. Right then, a sharp blade bursts through the shell. Our boy emerges, grabs the rat, and says he has a promise to keep. What do you and I learn here? Nobody touches his partner. He blasts the rat away. This absolute rat bloke skids to a halt on a nearby cliff, looking more raging than hurt. Let's dive right in. Surprisingly, he praises the lad's moves, giving him some proper grudging respect. Hertz then shifts his focus straight to the giant crab, trying to catch its attention. In a cheeky move, he chucks the stolen jewel back at the monster, yelling at it to catch. The crab absolutely nails the catch, and its angry face actually softens. Smirking, he tries reasoning with it, pointing out the rat bloke is their shared enemy, but the crab just smashes the ground nearby, while the rat guy completely mocks his diplomacy skills. That is when Hertz drops the bomb that he knows this guy, asking if he is from the dark abyss. This rat geezer interrogates Hertz about why he was snooping around the food street, before dropping that classic villain line about how seeing his true form is an absolute death sentence. Hertz is totally fed up, calling the bloke unbearable and even mocking his weight. Brilliant diplomacy. Taking it personally, the rat geezer launches off the cliff to attack, summoning a swirling vortex of dark magic as a lovely little gift so they cannot escape, which expands into a massive energy net covering the entire bloody sky. Now watch closely here. He brags this death trap will shrink until they are crushed, demanding final words. Not waiting around to find out, Hertz charges straight up the cliff to meet him, closing the gap in a flash to throw an absolutely massive right hook. But the rat bloke dodges with crazy agility and hits right back with a vicious tail whip. Hertz still manages to land a proper solid hit, making the guy stumble back, launching him airborne with pure punching power. After landing, the rat bloke actually compliments his moves again, buzzing that a human can keep pace. So Hertz gives him a cheeky free lesson on how his species cannot even use their strength properly. This makes the rat guy laugh like an absolute maniac, admitting that is usually spot on, before revealing this body is just a bloody vessel made to handle a measly 1% of his true power. With that insane reveal, he vanishes in a total blur of speed, leaving Hertz gobsmacked. Our lad is wide open, frantically trying to guess where the attack will come from. This rat bloke drops from above for a heavy downward smash, but it is a total fake-out, as a shadow clone pops up right behind Hertz for the real deal. Our lad barely has half a second to process the clone's speed before it is right on him. This dodgy shadow clone throws a punch, but Hertz manages to block it just in time. The sheer force sends him skidding backward across the rocky dirt. Meanwhile, the real rat guy casually calls his attack Evil Net. Absolutely zero creativity there. Dark purple energy tendrils suddenly burst out, wrapping tightly around Hertz's arm and trapping him completely. Totally restrained, he can only struggle while Riene screams his name in the background. This villain gets right up in his face, bragging about the massive power gap between them. Calling the fight finished, he turns his attention to the giant crab, calling it the main course. We both know our boy never quits. He asks if Hertz wants to die, but Hertz just flashes a cocky smirk, swearing he will never let that happen. With a massive burst of speed, he lunges forward and grabs the rat bloke's leg, stopping him dead. The rat guy figures out his plan to use fear to break the net, calling it clever but useless. Sick of games, he goes for the kill, screaming at Hertz to die. But our lad catches his arm and leg, insisting this little scrap is far from over yet. In a totally wild move, he spins onto the rat guy's back, trapping him in a nasty rear hold. He fully admits he is outmatched in speed and power, but says at this range he has an ultimate technique, which apparently just means getting ridiculously buff and lifting a giant boulder overhead. With massive effort, he chucks it straight into the nearby water. Then he jumps right into the lake himself, unleashing a furious storm of punches against the surface, finishing the whole combo with a massive axe kick that sends a crazy shockwave ripping through the water. All of this triggers a flashback to his training, where he literally split a mountain using a water punch. A younger Hertz collapses on the shore, his arm totally blackened from the sheer strain of the technique. His mentor rocks up, giving him a cheeky not bad for getting much stronger over the past decade. But when asked if it is finally enough for the Dream Beast world, Hertz admits he is still not ready. So the old man offers to teach a special survival technique that catches his eye, telling the lad to follow him for the next phase of his absolutely mental training. That is where we leave it. They rock up to a facility, eyeing a caged medium-danger giant boar. Let's dive in. Hertz immediately asks if he must defeat that crazy thing. His master's rules are bizarrely specific. Do not attack, just dodge using the handrails. Before Hertz can even ask what this means, the crazy old man grabs him by the neck like a potato sack. Then he chucks him straight into the boar enclosure without a second thought. Bouncing back, a furious Hertz yells, asking if this crazy bloke wants him dead. The mentor calmly explains that when you cannot beat a dream beast, there is only one way to survive, which is apparently to choke it out. Literally the worst advice ever given. We see a glorious shot of him trying to choke a massive ape. Spoiler alert, it totally fails. The old man then claims he cannot counter attacks without learning to spin the cage. A confused Hertz asks what the actual does spinning the cage even mean? He turns around, only to find his master crouching right there inside the cage with him. This absolute madman grabs the boar's attention just by screaming at it. Hey, he leaps onto the handrails, telling Hertz to copy him to dodge the charge. The flashback ends with young Hertz swearing to never, ever forgive his mentor for this brutal training. Back in the present, our boy has that exact same intensely focused glare. The rat guy scoffs, thinking a basic chokehold could actually lock down his movements. Roaring furiously, he tries to break free, unleashing a massive shockwave that completely shatters the ground beneath them. Now watch this closely. He declares the fight over, threatening to crush his bones to dust, but Hertz just smirks, revealing a completely upgraded version of his master's insane technique. Instead of merely blocking an incoming attack, he goes full offense. Apparently, this just means screaming super spin while becoming a literal human tornado. He then yeets the rat man right across the island, challenging his raw durability. The rat projectile flies straight at the giant crab, who's going to absolutely hate this. Meanwhile, Renee stands right in the crossfire, completely ignoring the incoming rat missile heading her way. As the colossal crab readies a massive claw to crush this little problem. This rat guy takes a scenic flight over a local volcano on his way down, before gravity finally kicks in, sending him crashing right back to the bloody battlefield. Renee is completely lost, frantically looking around everywhere and calling out for Hertz. Peeking from behind a tree, she desperately tries to understand this absolute chaos. When they finally crash into a nearby crater, the villain completely loses it, screaming to be released, while Hertz just admits his stamina is now totally maxed out. Just then, a mysterious woman in red heels suddenly appears, declaring her power is needed. This fierce new lady praises Hertz for surviving. She charges the blockbuster attack, firing a massive pure energy beam that completely swallows the battlefield. The rat man is totally caught off guard. You saw that panic, right? Next thing we know, cut to a hilarious chibai scene where she is absolutely roasting our bandaged hero for being so utterly reckless. Then she helps him up, insisting they must heal him and return to Gourmet Street immediately. But their chat gets rudely interrupted by the giant crab, suddenly looming right over the trees. It is still just as ridiculously huge as before, completely dwarfing the entire forest. Barely able to stand, Hertz admits this is insanely bad and they might actually be finished here. This crab stares down at them, looking weirdly expectant from its spot. His new ally wonders if the monster wants them to follow. As it walks away, she tells it to wait right there. Completely baffled by this wild turn of events. Without a single word, the crab starts descending into a deep, hidden ravine, leading them straight into a secret grotto. While she wonders where the heck they are now, she cautiously peeks around a massive rock, trying to grasp the crazy situation, only to find the crab has led them to a stunningly beautiful, sunlit cavern lair. Turns out all that insane rampaging was just to protect a nest full of giant eggs. Right on cue, one of those massive eggs starts cracking open with a super loud snap. An adorable little crystal crab crawls out, apparently dodging a massive extinction crisis. Hertz admits the view is absolutely gorgeous, but weakly whispers that he has finally hit his limit, before completely collapsing. As she realizes just how badly injured he really is, she begs him to hold on. His new ally supports his weight, noticing his heartbeat is getting dangerously weak. Just then, that tiny newborn crystal crab crawls right up onto his chest. Our boy is fully passed out while his tiny new mate just chills on him. But suddenly, the little crab unleashes a massive burst of golden healing energy. Are you seeing this? She is completely stunned, realizing the gem actually heals him. Hertz wakes up looking entirely dazed, surrounded by a super dramatic sparkle filter. Stick with me here, he instantly jumps to his feet, fully healed and ready to go. He is literally glowing, yelling about his body bursting with insane power, and then he celebrates with wild, chaotic flips while everyone just stares. Then he scoops up the tiny crab, asking if he saved it because it tickled. Solid logic. After a super quick thank you, he mentions returning to his master. He gently tosses the little guy back to its giant mom, promising to visit. This colossal crab looms over them, watching them pack up. Then it drops a massive claw made of stacked shells right in front of hers. It is a gift. A huge chunk of its own shell that leaves our boy completely stunned. It is conveniently shaped like a makeshift backpack. Time for final goodbyes. Promising to come back soon. Our duo finally heads out, with hers rocking his brand new shell luggage. Meanwhile, his companion is already daydreaming about cooking up that shell into a delicious meal. She is literally drooling over his brand new backpack. Absolutely zero chill. As they walk, Hertz suddenly freezes and his friend asks what is wrong. Peeking through the bushes, he points straight at the zone boss, an incredible iron mammoth. Now pay attention, a high-tier dream beast is right there, which politely means run away. They spot a massive crater marking its literal trail of destruction. This mammoth is just taking a calm stroll, about to absolutely ruin someone's day. His cheerful friend wonders if it is just running a simple errand. Totally normal thought. Hertz shoots that down fast, saying a beast this dangerous requires an entire army to beat. She realizes the district is totally doomed, wondering why a cave dweller is wandering out here. He guesses something terrible must have happened back in town to wake up this massive guy. His genius plan, he will stall the beast while she calls for backup, sounds fair. She sprints off to make the call, leaving Hertz completely alone with a hairy skyscraper. She jumps up, summoning a glowing snake tool that is basically a magic photo frame for long-distance calls, because of course anime logic strikes again. Then she rides a magic kite, screaming the very helpful advice to please not die. Now totally flying solo, Hertz gets ready to fight the mammoth and start the absolute party. With an insane burst of speed, he charges straight at the heavyweight problem. He closes the gap like a tiny bug attacking a freight train. Our boy starts taunting it for a quick warm-up. Suddenly we cut to a massive castle dominating the entire field. A crazy scenery change. Standing guard are three fancy-dressed guys who definitely look completely hostile. Right from the castle walls. I know what you are thinking. One guard spots a weird pack of trickster monkeys approaching from the woods. Sounds completely harmless, right? His buddy instantly opens fire with a comically massive cannon, asking absolutely zero questions. The huge blast unleashes a crazy crystal storm, totally shredding the charging beasts. Apparently, these monkeys just started climbing the walls for absolutely nothing. His purple-haired partner explains that these cowardly creatures only ever attack weak targets. The blonde dude gets super offended, wondering if the monkeys think they are easy targets, but the other guy guesses they are fleeing something much worse. And right on cue, the entire city gets a really bad feeling about what comes next. We cut to a breaking plate because nothing screams incoming doom quite like shattered dishes. Inside a grand hall, powerful elites are enjoying a super fancy banquet. A blue-haired guy praises the meal, looking totally satisfied after his feast. He crushes his glass, casually announcing the whole gourmet district is about to be destroyed. With his squad right behind him, he stands and declares party time. He takes one dramatic step forward, completely ready for chaos. This guy and his purple-haired partner strut through the room with maximum villain energy. His companion unleashes an active pollen attack, scattering glowing flower petals absolutely everywhere. As petals rain down on the city, innocent people start dropping like flies. A poor guy on the street grabs his throat, choking from the poison, but amid the chaos, a spiky-haired fiery fighter confronts the attacker. Back in the city, someone is sprinting frantically up the stairs. You and I know that sprinting up a massive spiral staircase means it is completely urgent. He bursts in, screaming that the gourmet district is in serious trouble. All right, stick with me here, you're about to see absolute chaos. His completely unimpressed boss finally looks outside. Citizens are literally rioting in the streets, adding to the massive citywide disaster. The blonde leader finally gets serious, summoning his Tempest Tiger. Now that sounds like an epic power. A glowing green spirit tiger appears, and he orders it to handle the beasts at the walls. With that handled, he grabs his sword. He is ready to deal with the internal problems himself. He draws his blade, wondering what on earth is going wrong in his district. Meanwhile, our spiky-haired fighter from earlier sprints across the rooftops looking for trouble. Peeking around a corner with glowing red eyes, he definitely finds some absolute madness waiting. A woman is backed into a corner by a guy who totally forgot personal space exists. This creep is just about to smash a giant jug right over her head, making this a totally desperate situation. But our blonde hero swoops in at the very last second. He saves her, leaving that spiky-haired attacker completely stunned by the sudden epic interruption. Our guy drops a classic line about how a real man never hurts the woman he loves. He tells her to get to safety while he cleans up this mess, earning a huge thanks. The camera zooms out, showing widespread chaos with people scattering and fighting everywhere. Now our hero faces off against another attacker, this one rocking a super dramatic cape. He calmly blows away a stray petal, looking completely unfazed about the upcoming epic brawl. The blonde hero wonders about the sweet smell driving the entire city crazy, realizing he is totally immune. Suddenly, a weird buzzing sound grabs his attention. He looks up at a massive screen right in the middle of the gourmet food plaza. Now watch closely. This blue-haired villain hits the screen, asking if his broadcast surprised everyone. With his squad behind him, he starts a classic villain monologue about the demons hiding inside human hearts. This guy arrogantly asks why they even bother hiding their true nature, actively trying to provoke the crowd. His broadcast flashes clips of daily grinds, totally roasting terrible bosses and those awful low wages. He keeps up his workers' unite speech, loudly accusing the guild of turning them into actual slaves. Pointing a finger, he lists all the city vices: casinos, underground fight clubs, and just pure greed. All of that, he claims, just funds the luxury lifestyles of the lazy elite. Then he heavily mocks the name Gourmet Town, calling the entire concept a massive fake joke. In this city, the rich can do whatever they want, and he is here to expose it. His purple-haired partner straight up asks the crowd why they do not just fight back. This villain calls them weak and pathetic, offering to show them what absolute true power looks like. He is broadcasting from the most important building in the district, making a massive statement. To prove his point, he invites everyone to come up and claim this new power for themselves. Holding a glowing orb, he promises to show them a completely new world. Down below, the remaining sane citizens just stare up at the screen, looking completely confused. With just one word, the villain fires an energy beam from the broadcast tower. It crashes into the ground below with a massive, chaotic, earth-shattering explosion. You saw that coming, right? The citizens are left completely stunned after the blast. This villain continues his broadcast, offering crazy power with one condition: unleash your inner demons. He is standing right on the gourmet building rooftop, looking extra evil with a glowing skull right behind him. To build some hype, he announces he will only accept the first 30 people who arrive. They have a 3-hour limit before he packs up his chaos and bails. His speech works instantly. People start trampling each other to get there first. One guy gets yelled at for pushing and responds by literally stomping on the other dude's head. This hyped crowd quickly decides the guard squad is useless, so it is time to take brutal justice into their own hands. Meanwhile, our blonde leader sees one of his own men running away, screaming threats about someone named Leonia. Having seen absolutely enough, he smashes a window, ready to handle this disaster himself. From up high, the blue-haired villain smirks as his sick game officially kicks off below. He and his purple-haired partner stand together, totally ready to enjoy watching the entire city tear itself apart. Then we cut to a super luxurious room where the villains chill out with their assistants. This blue-haired guy casually swirls a fancy wine glass. He is the perfect picture of calm, aristocratic evil. So what do you and I make of this? He just sits there looking smug, enjoying luxury before ruining everyone else. This guy is the definition of absolute chill. Lounging with his expensive bottle nearby, one assistant actually fumbles it, almost causing a total catastrophe of wasted, expensive wine. Stick with me, he effortlessly catches it, scolding her for dropping a 1984 vintage. Priorities, mate, his partner claps at the brilliant speech, asking if Mr. Leonia actually believes his own rubbish. Holding the bottle, Leonia explains the world is completely unfair, and he is just milking everyone's cheeky desire to play the hero. He continues his villain monologue, reminding her that taking the easy way always costs you. His purple-haired partner raises an eyebrow, asking if that means he will not actually hand over the power. He makes it clear he is no liar, he will deliver, but the price tag is a whole different story. She smirks, knowing better than to read the fine print, but right then, boom, a massive explosion totally blows their fancy door right off its bloody hinges. Standing up, Leonia calmly announces that it looks like their first party guest just arrived. Meanwhile, our boy Hertz is chilling on a cliff edge, staring at a massive, completely unknown landscape. He is utterly baffled, wondering what on earth happened to the building he was just in. Watch closely now, a sudden red flash warns him something is right behind him. It is another giant dream beast, staring him down like he is a tiny snack. This massive unit immediately stomps the ground, sending Hertz flying backward with a crazy shockwave. Crashing down, he admits this thing is a certified, genuine monster. It tries to squish him flat with its giant snout while he is grounded. A classic finishing move, but Hertz actually catches the attack, holding back that insane weight with his bare arms. Then he starts mocking the beast, asking if this giant furball really wants a proper test of strength. Flashing an absolutely bonkers grin, he decides to match its raw power head-on. The beast pushes down with everything it has, but our boy is not even sweating. Smiling, he cheekily declares he is the stronger one after all. With one massive heave, he launches the creature's heavy head backward, catching it completely off guard. The monster's giant legs buckle as the sheer force of his brutal counterattack throws it off balance. The monster's desperate follow-up stomp cracks the actual earth, proving the mad power Hertz just casually deflected. Its weird trunk-like tail suddenly sweeps in, scooping our guy right up like a tiny speck of dust. Now trapped in a massive meat roll, Hertz tries to chat his way out. The beast responds by yeeting him into the sky with a world-class pitch. He smashes into a cliff edge hard enough to permanently rearrange the entire local geography. Tumbling back down to earth, he looks less like a hero and more like an angry ragdoll. You and I both knew this was coming. The real problem is finally revealed, a giant, furious iron mammoth. Meanwhile, cutting back to the main city, the big bridge has turned into a total, chaotic war zone. More of these ugly dream beasts are invading the castle walls, making the city's bad day much worse. A serious-looking commander orders his subordinate to handle a target while he holds the line, but his mate spots a new headache, pointing at a threat incoming from above. A blonde girl on a hang glider makes her grand entrance, screaming for everyone to clear the way. From below, her arrival looks like some sort of totally bizarre angelic intervention. She nails the landing perfectly, leaving both guards completely baffled by her sudden, dramatic drop-in. The commander recognizes her as Rihanna, Hertz's assistant, proper confused by her ride, but Rihanna skips the chatter, delivering a super urgent message straight from Hertz. The iron mammoth has finally woken up. That totally explains these rampant, crazy beasts. The commander asks someone named Biss to prep a trap. Sadly, Biss is slightly tied up dealing with that massive riot Leonia just started. Rihanna looks visibly stressed out, realizing this is literally the worst possible timing for a massive crisis. The commander makes a bold call. He will go back up Biss, leaving Rihanna fully in charge of trapping the mammoth. Rihanna confidently accepts the mad mission, telling the commander to leave the giant mammoth entirely in her capable hands. Flashing a dead serious look, she heads off to manage the crisis while smoke billows from the city. She is proper worried, realizing Biss still has not returned, which is a very bad sign. Right then, a massive winged beast absolutely smashes into a nearby brick building. This ugly thing is screeching its lungs out while spitting a wild barrage of fireballs absolutely everywhere. Some hooded bloke on the street has to dive for cover while fiery projectiles rain down. He is utterly gobsmacked that a high-level monster like this is rampaging right through the middle of town. Spotting a manhole cover, he gets a brilliant idea and prepares a summon. A giant gator-type beast called Two Alligates bursts straight out of the sewer to lend a hand. Next, he summons a pink snake that... So what do you and I make of this? It looks harmless, but the snake lashes out, grabbing the beast's face like a bloody improvised leash. Stick with me here because Rihanna just dropped from the sky, grabbing that snake's tail like a giant whip. With one massive spin, she slams the monster's ugly head straight into the stone pavement. She tells the hooded guy to get those civilians to safety, claiming this fight is totally hers. One boot planted firmly on the beast's face proves she is fully in control. Rihanna then wonders what on earth Biss is doing, letting a monster like this run loose. Meanwhile, we cut to this extremely sketchy-looking tree growing right out of a cliff. And there is hers just dangling there after getting violently launched by that iron mammoth. He is beyond relieved to survive that crazy drop, thanking this perfectly placed tree. Taking a quick second to process his near-death experience, he tries cooking up a brand new plan. Right as hers celebrates being alive, his lifesaver branch starts cracking, and down he goes again, falling straight toward the mammoth's trunk. Somehow he lands right on its snout, looking way more annoyed than actually terrified. This beast instantly yeets him right back into the sky, clearly not a fan of hitchhikers. After sticking the landing, he taunts it like he is late for a duel, not fighting a city-sized problem. He needs the gourmet district, but this furry roadblock refuses to quit. His new master plan is absolute genius: lead this giant monster straight to the city guards. So he starts baiting it, calling the multi-ton giant slow, which is honestly a bold move. It totally works, and now he has one furious iron mammoth hot on his heels. Now pay close attention. They sprint right into this dense forest, and things get absolutely wild. Our boy starts doing some serious acrobatics, effortlessly parkouring through the treetops, but he is completely shocked seeing the mammoth keep pace without even getting stuck once. That thing just plows straight through the thick woods like they are made of tissue paper. Hers quickly realizes he cannot run forever, meaning he needs a better plan right this second. He seems to be calculating something, maybe the exact distance for his next big brain move. With a sudden burst of pure confidence, he declares this will work and gets ready, grabbing onto a thick, sturdy vine hanging from one of those massive trees. Then he casually swings Tarzan style, aiming straight for the mammoth's giant leg, wrapping the vine around its ankle in a comically huge tripwire move, and somehow this makes him land directly on the beast's back, enjoying the view. This vine pulls super tight as hers lands. But the mammoth just stops, completely unfazed. He feels pretty smug, thinking there is absolutely no way this massive furball catches him now. But the beast simply snaps the vine with a single, earth-shattering stomp. I know what you are thinking. The whole point was just tripping it down a massive cliff. With the mammoth tumbling to its doom, hers calmly walks away like a total hero. Meanwhile, two guards are chilling in a clearing, totally confident their perfect trap is ready. One guy is already stressing out, complaining about how terrifying this entire dream world is, while wiping his sweaty forehead. He spots something tiny flying right over his partner's head, and hers makes this epic entrance, crashing right into the middle of their hay-covered trap. Our boy rates his landing a 9.9 before casually asking who these random guys are. This head guard reveals he is their boss Biss, right before asking if the trap is ready. Pointing a very direct finger, Biss informs hers that he is standing straight on top of it. The ground instantly gives way, dropping him right into a classic pitfall trap. From the edge, those two guards casually check if he is still breathing down there. He is alive, just sitting in this extremely suspicious-looking puddle of blue slime at the bottom. Biss tells him not to move a muscle, since he just ruined their one chance to catch the mammoth. Turns out that slime is super-strength glue, and hers is completely stuck now. Seeing his pathetic situation, Biss sighs and offers to toss down a rope. Hers gratefully grabs it, totally ready to escape this sticky predicament. With the mission officially failed, Biss begins the awkward process of pulling him up. As Biss hauls him out, hers is a sticky, dripping mess, taking one for the team, and he awkwardly apologizes for destroying their single-use trap, which is just fantastic. But then a weird sound slices through the air, and hers wonders what is happening now. His face instantly drops looking up, feeling like his problems are just getting started. And there is the iron mammoth, rocketing through the sky like a furry, vengeful comet. Everyone absolutely loses their minds realizing the defeated beast is back, glued to the floor. Hertz yells to brace for impact, and trust me, you and I absolutely need to see how they survive this. To this massive mammoth, hers is literally just a tiny helpless snack waiting to be squashed flat. Stick with me here, guys, that giant foot is ready to turn our boy into an absolute crater. The beast's eyes are glowing with pure rage as it drops all its heavy weight right down. Its massive foot smashes the ground hard enough to shatter solid rock completely, and hers is caught right in the middle of that dead zone, screaming like an absolute madman. But wait, the foot lands perfectly right where that empty trap hole was waiting. In a beautiful twist of crazy luck, the mammoth falls straight into the trap Hertz ruined earlier. The giant beast totally collapses, literally making its own attack cause its downfall. As the thick dust settles, the guards can barely believe it, wondering if it's over. A massive pillar of smoke shoots straight up from the crater, confirming the mammoth fell hard. Peeking right over the edge, they are seriously wondering what kind of trap that was and if Hurt even survived. All that's left is a giant hole and loads of unanswered questions. Miracle Boy Hurt survived the drop by gripping a huge handful of mammoth hair. Now he is riding the beast inside the pit, yelling at it to stay still. Top-tier strategy. After a super rough landing, he spots a weird red box nearby. From up top, we see the mammoth totally stuck at the bottom, and suddenly the real trap triggers with heavy chains bursting from the walls. Those wicked spiked chains wrap right around the mammoth's legs, completely pinning it down. Another heavy set of chains pulls tight, absolutely binding the giant creature in place. Now pay attention here. With the beast locked down, the trap definitely worked, just slightly late. The mammoth looks totally knocked out, eyes heavy while fighting sleep. Hers casually drops his secret ingredient, sleeping gas, and yeah, it is turning out to be crazy effective. Of course, our brilliant guy breathes the gas too, realizing he just played himself. As the monster finally gives in to the fumes, it starts collapsing. Our boy is fighting hard to stay awake, but that heavy gas is hitting him too. With the massive beast out cold, the pit goes totally silent. A hilarious little snot bubble pops up, confirming this giant hairy mountain is fast asleep. Right before he passes out entirely, Biss shouts down from above, offering him a rope. Hertz, always showing off, brags he has enough room to jump out alone. Biss completely ignores him and drops the rope anyway. Zero time for fake heroics right now. Standing right on the snoozing behemoth, Hertz shouts thanks from the bottom, but just as he reaches for that rope, a weird sound makes him spin around. The supposedly knocked out mammoth suddenly shifts, forcing poor Hertz to wildly struggle for balance. He instantly realizes the sneaky beast was faking it, an absolutely classic monster fake-out tactic. Deciding he has officially had enough nonsense, our guy preps a super dramatic exit. With one heavy stomp, he uses the beast's thick fur as a massive springboard. This seriously angers the beast, who literally uses its trunk to launch him right out. After landing perfectly, he casually thanks the stunned guards for their help. Biss is just super relieved he is breathing, fully confessing he was terrified for a second there. Hurt asks about the gourmet district, but the guards only know it is a total disaster. He tries playing it cool, thinking Rihanna and Biss have everything handled, but his fake confidence lasts exactly 2 seconds before his gut screams something is horribly wrong. Without saying another word, he sprints off at max speed, ditching the other two completely. The tired guards watch him bolt, wondering if they should even follow. Our boy is tearing through the city streets, heading straight back into the main chaos. He crashes into the main square expecting a war zone but finds absolutely nothing. I know what you're thinking, what the heck happened while he was gone? A sudden creepy movement behind puts him on max alert. A brand new beastman appears right alongside him, totally mocking Hertz's little surprise attack attempts. The freakish creature lunges at crazy speed, grinning that he has him right where he wanted. He lands an absolutely devastating blow, sending Hertz flying straight through the air into a wall. So his heroic return lasted exactly 5 seconds. In a flash, Hertz has the dude right at his neck, acting super shocked to see a dream beast. Hertz's face instantly hardens hearing something desperate in the distance. A loud scream slices the air, and he immediately recognizes Riena's terrified voice calling out. Zero hesitation, he launches straight across the whole city towards that sound. Landing hard on a roof, he furiously scans the dark streets for her. His sharp eyes lock onto a super dark opening. He guesses that's the spot, but nope, it's a trap. A massive explosion blasts next to him, classic distraction. The blast throws him, but he uses the wild momentum to surge forward. And boom, there is the target, a nasty reptilian beast about to totally devour Riena. Hurt comes flying in like a literal superhero, shouting that he's got this. To everyone's shock, he intercepts the monster's jaw with a crackling electric strike, stopping it dead. With the beast stunned, he dives to catch Riena falling through the sky. Their hands perfectly connect mid-flight. You and I totally loved that epic save, right? You and I are back in the madness. He nails the bridal-style landing, acting like saving people from monsters is just a casual Tuesday. Then he points out she is completely soaked, which honestly is terrible timing. She blushes hard, telling him to zip it. Good job, hero. Skipping past the awkwardness, Hertz gets right down to business, asking what exactly is happening here. Riena explains it is all because of Laenia. Apparently this mysterious person is chilling in the gourmet building, just handing out some absolutely insane power-ups. Riena's buddy quickly points out the massive destruction this crazy power has already caused. Apparently this wild character destroyed a whole building with just one single punch. He is totally stunned, admitting barely anyone in the Alliance could do that. Riena adds that dream beasts have been spawning everywhere since she showed up. She called for Alliance backup, but they are hours away, so he decides to hunt Laenia down completely solo, telling Riena to evacuate while she can. Meanwhile, inside the gourmet building, a huge crowd is waiting for something. One guy tests his new strength, cracking a solid wall with a touch. Totally power-drunk, he demands to know where everyone else is hiding. The rest of the mob goes wild, screaming for their promised dose of power. Now watch closely, things are about to get real. A combat maid steps from the shadows, sighing at this pathetic show. She coldly notes these fools always bring pure trouble. The buffed guy looks confused, questioning her armor choice, which is a fair point. Her response, a super confident, totally lethal smile. The spiky-haired guy steps up, flashing his claws and warning her not to get in his way. He grabs her by the neck, threatening her if she hides the source of power. Glowing with a red aura, she calmly asks what happens if she refuses. With lightning speed, she grabs his wrist, completely nullifies his tiny attack, and slices him. Just casually using a light sword, his little threat is over. The spiky-haired kid is absolutely flabbergasted, watching his shiny new power gauntlet literally crumble into useless dust. As he stumbles backward in shock, the combat maid just watches, her glowing light blade still humming with energy. Totally furious, he starts screaming at her, while the rest of the power-hungry mob backs him up. The guy launches a glowing counterattack, swearing he is going to completely tear her apart. But his attack gets casually blocked by a shadowy hand before a massive explosion sends him flying away. Staring down at his body, she calls him pathetic for not even surviving 30 hits. With that annoying idiot out of the way, new hopefuls step forward, but the maid cuts them off with a dead serious expression, telling the whole room to listen up. Her big speech gets interrupted by a massive, bird-shaped dream beast smashing its way in from outside. This thing crashes right through the window, sending shattered glass and pure chaos flying everywhere. Landing with a heavy thud, the giant bird now completely dominates the room, surrounded by those power-hungry fools. A close-up of its massive webbed foot proves this is no ordinary bird, it is a straight-up monster. Are you and I seeing this? It instantly swallows a guy whole. The maid and the white-haired woman calmly explain the bizarre deal. Turns out, this crazy bird actually holds a pocket dimension for the power ritual. The whole group, including some guy in a literal jester suit, is told to enter one by one. Naturally, the jester absolutely panics, screaming it is a lie and refusing to be bird food. Waving a cheerful goodbye, he tries making a run for it, calling everyone else total suckers. Oh, but the combat maid is not letting him walk away, charging up a deadly energy blast. She fires a concentrated energy beam that blows straight through the jester's chest mid-sprint. The poor dude gets completely fried, trapped in a web of crackling energy. So much for his grand escape. The rest of the crowd watches in pure shock after that little public execution. With dark energy swirling, the combat maid gives them a choice: jump into the bird or get absolutely blasted. Then she asks if anyone else wants to head home, and spoiler alert, that is not a friendly offer. Just as expected, a few guys immediately volunteer, deciding that getting eaten is way better than getting instantly vaporized. So one by one, the hopefuls start marching straight into the giant bird's mouth. Bon appetit, you crazy monster. Meanwhile, the maid just yawns, looking completely bored by this entire bloody process. But her nap time gets interrupted when a new guy approaches, getting way too close to the monster. And right on cue, the white-haired guy from earlier smashes through the wall like a wrecking ball. He lands right on the bird's head. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. The guy about to become bird food starts begging the newcomer for help. But the woman reading the book cuts him off with a sharp shut up, wrapping him in weird energy. All right, stick with me here. Our white-haired hero finally pieces it together. Everyone was sent straight inside that massive bird. He is absolutely livid. Powering up, he swears they won't get away with treating people like pawns. He charges forward in a blazing flash of red energy, but the maid calmly clocks his exact power level. Her reading buddy looks genuinely shocked to find someone this insanely strong hiding out in their district. One close-up of his face says it all. This guy is not going to be an easy target. The combat maid starts low-key panicking, terrified that this little delay is going to completely enrage the real Lady Leonia. She decides they have to jump him together, straight up declaring they cannot afford to waste their boss's time. The reader totally agrees. Both girls start flaring their aura, gearing up for an epic 2-on-1 beatdown. He just smirks and says, "Sounds good to me." He is completely ready to take them both on. The fight kicks off with our hero crashing into both women as the ceiling literally caves in. But wait, a surprise energy pillar blasts him from above, sending him crashing right into the dirt. A new voice cuts in, smugly refusing to let them stall, as a blonde dude in a white suit pops out, claiming that buying time is actually his job. Pointing dramatically, he screams that Hertz is the one who threw him in jail. Oh, it is personal now. He swears to pay back every ounce of despair he felt in that cell. Now watch closely. He turns to the giant bird, volunteering to flex his new powers first. The monster bird takes off, and our hero yells for it to come back. But his path gets instantly blocked by a massive wall of crackling red energy. And the source of this crazy attack, a bunch of glowing playing cards of all things. The blonde guy just stands there swearing to protect the sacred ritual, while our hero gauges his new power level. Our white-haired hero is completely mind-blown. How did this guy even escape prison, let alone score a massive power-up? Flashing a super cocky smirk, the card thrower brags about already hitting the second rank. He explains a dream beast conveniently wiped out the prison for him. A quick flashback shows a little lizard monster breaking him right out of his cell. Talk about insane luck. Of course, he is incredibly grateful to Lady Leonia for this golden ticket to sweet revenge. Then he gets all smug, asking our hero what he thinks of this incredible new strength. This dude brags about gaining in mere days what took our hero 10 whole years to build. Ouch, that hurts. Proving his absolute loyalty to his new boss, he draws a hand of cards, declaring he will serve up our hero's head straight to Lady Leonia on a platter. The card slinger kicks off his assault, whipping a full deck of charged-up cards straight at Hertz. Hertz gets caught dead in the attack as a red energy whip completely wraps around him. This sends our boy flying through the air, totally caught off guard by how weird this is. He sticks the landing but instantly has to dodge another wave of razor-sharp card projectiles. You and I both saw that coming, right? Hertz realizes this is not random. There's a pattern. Yep, the cards have a tracking feature because of course they do. He is forced onto the defensive, frantically blocking this endless barrage of literal paper doom. The air fills with massive explosions as the cards detonate on impact, absolutely shredding the room. The blonde guy boasts that his new rank lets him control his power with pinpoint surgical precision. He is totally basking in the glory now, claiming he can make these cards fly literally anywhere he can see. What a massive show-off! With pure arrogance he claims this whole room is his personal hunting ground, no escape. But Hertz refuses to just take it, deciding it is time to risk it all. He plants his feet, ready to strike back. Ready to turn the tables on this dude, he makes a wild move, reaching out and snatching one of the glowing cards right out of thin air. He even pats himself on the back for the catch, flashing a grin that says he figured out the trick. Then he simply claps his hands together, crushing the card he caught, because he realized the villain pumped his raw power into every single piece of paper. This triggers a massive explosion right in his face, launching him flying backward all over again. The card slinger confirms the trap, just touch a card and boom, a super simple but crazy effective trick. Now he is condensing that exact same power into a spinning sphere, charging up a much bigger finale. The card slinger finally unleashes his ultimate finishing move. A royal flush of pure red energy, but here is what you and I will remember. Hertz grits his teeth, totally unfazed, as the massive red energy wave swallows him whole. Grunting fiercely, he slams his hand into the ground, stopping the attack dead in its tracks. All right, mate, stick with me here. Hertz actually smirks, admitting this bloke got a bit stronger since they last clashed. Then he calls him out, saying this borrowed power is definitely not his real strength. The blonde bloke claims Hertz is just desperate, but the sweat pouring down his face says otherwise. Suddenly Hertz spots a tiny opening right as a fresh blast of energy zips across the room. This brand new attack catches the villain completely off guard from behind. Turns out Hertz fired at himself, his own hand glowing with crackling blue energy. In a flash, he is right behind the stunned villain, asking him to repeat that last insult. The card thrower is now pinned to the floor, totally outclassed by Hertz and his insane speed. He literally cannot believe it. Absolutely gobsmacked by how fast the tables turned, Hertz just lifts him up by the neck, not giving him even a single second to recover. This guy demands to know how he dodged the blast, and Hertz casually explains he just fired back. A cheeky little diagram pops up showing he used his own shot to redirect the blast right at the villain. Flashing a savage grin, Hertz calls the technique super flashy but pathetically weak. He even mocks the bloke for being the absolute weakest second-tier user he has ever seen. Yeah, that definitely had to sting. This sends the villain into a total meltdown, desperately trying to convince himself he is still invincible. Now watch closely right here. Hertz charges up a blue flame punch ready to give him a reality check. He smashes through his defenses and jams a blue energy blade into his chest. The swordsman goes flying across the room. All that arrogance ends in a seriously undignified screech. He drops in a heap, knocked out cold in a fresh crater. So much for his grand revenge tour. Looking down, Hertz critiques his technique, pointing out his power was bloody strong but totally clumsy and unrefined. He even questions if the bloke's body could have handled that power without exploding. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a dead fancy terrace miles away. A blue-haired guy in a sharp suit sips wine, while his purple-haired subordinate gives him the lowdown. She is holding a pot of roses because nothing screams failed mission quite like a floral arrangement. She informs the boss Leonia that his agents completely bottled it against the blue-haired bloke. The reason is simple. Hertz turned up and their entire squad just packed their bags and bylaid. Leonia calls Hertz a massive headache, identifying him as the disciple of some mysterious old man. He decides killing Hertz is way too risky, since it would definitely attract his crazy master's attention. Plus, with all this chaos, he is dead certain other big shots will show up soon. And right on cue, a fleet of airships punches through the clouds heading for the city. On the lead ship stands one of the 9 great generals of the Alliance. A pirate-looking bloke named Cloud. He barks at his crew, asking how long until they reach the Gurmuk district. Totally drawn in by the commotion, his helmsman reports they are 30 minutes out, and Cloud looks absolutely buzzing for action. With a fierce look, he tells his crew to hold on tight because they are joining the party. Back with Hertz, he casually leans against a door, looking well smug after his big victory. You probably guessed it too. A voice asks what is happening, revealing he walked into the boss room. Leonia's subordinate points out their guest has arrived right on the fancy terrace. The blue-haired boss turns around and formally introduces himself to Hertz for the very first time. Hertz just stands there looking completely baffled, having zero clue who this random bloke actually is. This massively ticks off Leonia, who feels highly offended that anyone could forget his magnificent self. He quickly tells his subordinate Sophia to shut it. Gotta maintain that proper villain dignity, right? Changing the subject, Leonia tries to recruit Hertz, offering him a shortcut to absolute power. He insists that staying with the Federation is a total waste of the kid's insane talent. But Hertz just smirks and flat out rejects him, showing zero interest at all. The lad explains his philosophy. Real power grows from stable order, not just swinging around brute force. Leonia scoffs, claiming his own power represents humanity and is completely invincible. He then lectures Hertz about how only a talented few are actually destined to lead the world. Since the sales pitch totally flopped, Leonia decides it is time for a much more aggressive demonstration. He unleashes his true form, a gross mass of dark tentacles, to show off a genius-level power. This bloody power manifests as a terrifying phantom demon god that immediately launches a wild attack. Meanwhile, on his ship, General Cloud impatiently demands to know how long until they finally arrive. A crewmate with binoculars reports they are 5 minutes from the distress signal. Back in the fight, Hertz is shocked to see it is a third-class power just like his own master's. The monster brags that while it does not match the old man's level, it is still enough to kill Hertz. Where do we leave it? Crushed by overwhelming force, Hertz finally realizes its absolute superiority. Up high, General Cloud notices this building is literally seconds away from completely collapsing. All right, stick with me here. We're kicking off with Cloud taking charge and swan diving straight off his airship. Subtle, not a chance. He smashes into the ground, shattering the floor with pure force. Down below, Leonia gives hers that classic bad guy speech, surrender now or face death. While Cloud drops like a human missile, this smug villain promises to literally fix hers' brain using just one finger. The giant monster looms right over hers, offering to generously end his miserable life. Still falling, Cloud is absolutely ready to ruin someone's day. Hers gets whipped by a tentacle while Leonia calls him totally useless. A countdown flashes from the sky, only 6 seconds left until total impact. Leonia mocks him, telling him to enjoy his final moments. The timer ticks down as Cloud falls even faster. 4 seconds left, watch closely here. At 2 seconds, hers is sweating bullets, completely frozen. Right on time, Cloud crashes onto the terrace, totally shocking Leonia. The general powers up, glowing with this insane purple battle aura. He draws a blade of pure energy, gearing up to slice right through Leonia. A massive energy wave blasts from his sword straight at the monster, but Leonia casually blocks the whole thing with one tentacle. Tentacles wrap the energy blade, totally shutting down the attack. Cloud glares at Leonia, who greets him like some old friend grabbing coffee. General Cloud brings his energy blade down with a massive strike that literally splits the building. Flipping the camera angle, that heavy attack slams directly into Leonia's weird monster form. Sophia screams at her boss to watch out as those blinding light blades approach. The heavy sword crashes hard right against the phantom demon beast. Sophia looks super worried, but Leonia brushes it off like it's nothing. He actually calls that massive, building-splitting attack just a tiny little scare. Then he casually suggests taking this fight outside because the terrace is getting way too messy. As he leaves, a rogue tentacle whips back to finish hers, but Cloud intercepts the strike. Hers just sits there stunned, mumbling a weak thanks. Now he is stuck fighting Sophia, and his brain literally short-circuits because he refuses to hit girls. His new opponent remembers her boss's orders to make him a puppet, but she has her own plans. With a totally deadpan stare, she steps up, completely ready to brawl. Her roses start glowing as a weird red tentacle beast pops out. A literal thorny floral nightmare because sure, even the flowers are evil here. Meanwhile, Leonia floats off into the distance, looking down on the general. He even hangs upside down just to be super dramatic. Classic villain move. You and I both knew he was gonna ask why Cloud is interfering. Cloud just glares back, completely surrounded by monster tentacles, but looking 0% intimidated. The general unleashes his own fiery red aura, seriously powering up for this crazy duel. Leonia stares back with his own dark energy, ready for round two. Flashback time, this blonde guy named Bis tells Sophia to cover his incoming attack. He leaps right off a metal beam, kicking off a super high-stakes duel. Glowing with a fierce red aura, Bis looks totally ready with his sword drawn. A flying kick starts things off, but his white-haired opponent easily spots it. Off to the side, Sophia watches these swordsmen clash in pure energy. She tells them to enjoy it while it lasts, looking completely bored by the epic show. Looking tired, she literally turns her back and walks away, abandoning them to their little fight. The enemy raises his blade for a massive charge, sending this huge wave of golden energy crashing straight down toward Bis. The white-haired swordsman lands hard after dodging a purple projectile. He digs his fingers straight into the deck just to catch his balance. Across the deck, Bis challenges him to stay focused while standing over a fresh hole. Suddenly, a massive chunk of wood flies straight at Bis. In response, he prepares a heavy strike, ready to slice the incoming projectile clean in two. Right as he cuts it, Bis realizes this enemy is completely dead serious, and he has to shut him down fast. His eyes narrow with intense focus, carefully calculating his next move against this opponent. The two face off on a super narrow wooden beam because anime logic, obviously. Bis unleashes a wild spinning attack, slicing right through two of the guy's energy clones. His opponent yells as golden energy arcs close in on him. Bis follows up with a heavy strike, launching forward for the final blow. The white-haired enemy charges Bis, a blue energy trail leading the way. Bis dodges, blasting a massive hole behind him. That's where we leave it, trust me, you're gonna want to see what's next. Alright guys, stick with me. He ignores the ruined skylight and straight up punches the floor, because yeah, that is a totally rational response. This absolutely shatters the deck, sending massive wooden splinters exploding upward. A voice yells to open his eyes, probably because he is about to eat debris. With glowing eyes, Bis finally decides to get totally serious in this brawl. His sword flares with golden energy, tracing a perfect arc for his next move. Surrounded by floating rubble, he raises his blade for a devastating downward smash. His opponent leaps in for another strike, but Bis swears this is the end of the line. The dude actually tries catching the blade bare-handed, an absolute genius defensive maneuver, right? Now watch closely. He smirks, bragging he can read every move Bis makes, but he totally missed the second blade hidden inside. A nasty surprise called absolute cut. Bis holds his stance, keeping that tiny but deadly blade extended and ready to slice. He drives that hidden blade straight through his opponent's shoulder with one wildly brutal thrust. That cocky grin vanishes instantly, replaced by pure shock. Launched by the crazy impact, he curses his own arrogance while falling. He crashes into the deck hard. The fight ends on that single clean hit. Now he is just moaning in defeat inside another rubble crater. Bis stands over him holding a bloody sword, fully ready to finish the job. The beaten swordsman lies in the crater. A flashback voice suddenly begs Bis to wake up. In his mind, he sees the blonde winner walking away. It is a total obsession. Screaming, he refuses to let his rival go just yet. The white-haired guy lunges forward, using one last absolutely desperate burst of crazy energy. He attacks in what looks like a super aggressive hug. Bis is unamused. The guy grits his teeth, holding tighter, enjoying this way too much. Bis drops him with a perfect suplex. That is how you handle clingy rivals. Even with his face about to smack the floor, the guy keeps smiling like a madman. Bis pins him by stepping on his back, ending this completely bizarre duel. A cartoon heart actually complains that its position was moved. A very direct metaphor. With his opponent drained, Bis says he reached his limit, finally wrapping up the flashback. Let's pause a second, back to the present at the Gourmet District Aid Station. A blonde lady rocking a red and white uniform studies a glowing holographic city map. She thinks of Hertz first, desperately hoping he survived the chaos. A subordinate enters, calling her Lady Rihanna with a strict salute. He reports they are totally overwhelmed with casualties and rapidly losing bed space. The harsh reality hitting them, they just lack the resources to save everyone in need. Rihanna looks absolutely determined, deciding there's only one thing left to do, and that thing is apparently throwing on a massive, shiny chef hat. She summons her snake kitchen sword, fully ready to cook up some serious support. Her blade smacks the ground, instantly summoning a complete kitchen out of thin air. This magic setup spawns mid-aid station, totally ready for work. She starts cooking glowing red crystal shards that look vaguely edible. Rocking her hat, Rihanna looks deadly serious, armed with a spatula and frying pan for this medical emergency. Now she is literally floating, tossing ingredients with a fiery aura like a true combat chef. Her order is to concentrate fire, focusing all her energy onto this dish. A literal inferno erupts from her cooking station as she channels the roaring flames. Inside the blaze, those crystals break down and glow with insane healing energy. She stands center stage in this massive flash, totally controlling the chaos. All that crazy power condenses into a single glowing golden orb, the true essence of her cooking. Flashing a confident smile, she releases the energy with bright light rays. Just like that, dozens of crystal recovery soup bowls magically appear. Talk about massive production. This miracle dish from a six-winged crystal beast is loaded with insane healing buffs. Subordinates are ordered to serve the soup immediately. Her duty done for now, Rihanna thinks about Hertz, praying he holds on. Meanwhile, Hertz is out cold. He suddenly snaps awake in a hospital bed, totally disoriented and screaming in pure panic. Rihanna bolts into the room. Her face shows pure panic, calling his name. So relieved she can barely believe he is awake. A massive hug is the only answer. Blushing hard, she admits he totally scared her to death. Biss shows up bandaged on a crutch, asking if anyone plans to worry about him. Rihanna glares, saying his injuries are his own fault for overdoing it, but admits it is funny. Sick of the noise, she yells to shut up. So what do we learn? In Chibai rage mode, she complains about blowing her expensive crystal scorpion to heal them. Stick with me, we are jumping right into the chaos. Hertz nervously apologizes, glad his rival can still complain, when suddenly a bald dude's hologram pops up, crying happy tears. His relief instantly switches to serious business, telling Hertz he has a brand new job. And apparently this epic new gig starts with Hertz eating a massive feast fit for an army. The kid straight up asks the hologram if he even has a heart, putting him to work while eating. He launches into a super dramatic speech about his travel dreams, stuffing his face. Waving a huge chunk of roast meat right at the screen, he calls his boss a liar. The boss tells him to chill out, promising this crazy mission won't ruin his plans. Turns out the dark abyss is shifting, revealing shady figures behind the chaos. He leaves the gourmet district to General Cloud, sending Hertz's squad straight to the Dream Beast world. Sure. He pitches it as totally connected to Hertz's dream, a classic shady management tactic. But Hertz immediately asks if he has to fight them directly. His boss totally downplays it. He claims only the veterans are actually strong, and since Hertz is the best, he needs to go out, level up, and master his second-rank power. This super intense briefing gets completely derailed when Rihanna drops another massive dish on the table. The hologram stares, totally unimpressed by the dinner distraction. So the boss dangles their next epic destination right in front of Rihanna, the legendary chef's castle. He promises a massive surprise when they arrive, while Hertz just sighs, saying it is time to go. Outside, they stare up at their destination, and Hertz is absolutely speechless. It is the sacred land of cooks, guarded by twin monster statues holding giant utensils. Inside, chefs constantly brawl, leveling up their culinary skills using raw auras. Now watch this part closely. The place is packed with bizarre ingredients that actually fight back. Plus, this whole culinary paradise sits inside the Dream Beast world, towering ridiculously high. Hertz and Rihanna look like absolute tiny specks at the base of this colossal megastructure. Getting closer, Hertz loudly complains about the brutal wind that feels like invisible flying blades. He just smiles, totally unfazed by the apocalyptic weather brewing above. Suddenly, that gale turns into an absolute downpour, and Hertz realizes how crazy fast the weather changes. With the heavy rain smashing down, he tells Rihanna they need shelter fast. He spots this incredibly creepy-looking tree and sprints over, thinking it is safe. While climbing, he endlessly grumbles about how savage the dream beast world's weather is. He peeks into a dark hollow in the trunk, totally convinced it is a perfect hiding spot. Turning back to Rihanna, he cheerfully yells that he found the ultimate shelter, but Rihanna stares up in pure terror, screaming at him to look closer. His cozy shelter is actually a massive tree monster. And as Rihanna screams her lungs out, Hertz just casually keeps climbing, completely clueless. The monstrous creature snarls loudly, jaws wide open and ready to snap. You and I both know this tree messed up. It is about to get fatal indigestion, because Hertz is literally just chilling in its mouth, looking way more annoyed than scared. He channels his insane energy, deciding to drop everything into one explosive exit strategy. A blinding crimson aura erupts from inside, outlining the beast in pure destructive power. With a massive, earth-shattering boom, he blows the monster tree into a million tiny splinters. Landing smoothly with his giant case, he instantly scolds Rihanna to be careful, right after literally letting himself get eaten. She ignores him, staring up at their destination, terrified it is already out of reach. Hertz cannot believe they are actually expected to climb this ridiculously massive mountain of a city. So his genius solution to the heavy rain, literally stuffing Rihanna into his giant travel suitcase. With one incredibly quick kick, he makes absolutely sure his former shelter is dead. Then he cheerfully reminds her she would have frozen out there anyway. What a confidence boost. But right now his own boots glow with raw energy, fighting the brutal weather. Unleashing that crazy power, he launches them both straight up the side of the colossal wall. Our boy just smiles, telling her to get totally used to this dream power, because nothing is stopping them. Rihanna screams her head off to slow down, while he absolutely loves his new jet-propelled travel method. They soar through the sky like a tiny speck against the colossal castle walls, sticking a perfect landing. Honestly, he looks like an absolute anime hero, if you ignore the giant luggage. They have finally reached the grand entrance of the legendary chef's castle. Rihanna bursts out of the case, knife drawn, absolutely hyped to start cooking. But her epic celebration gets cut completely short by a dark, fiery projectile crashing down from the sky. Hertz's massive hero entrance gets instantly blocked by the giant, striped leg of a brand new monster. This thing is an absolute nightmare, a high-ranked clown gorilla dream beast packing a nasty red aura. But a new white-haired dude appears with his own suitcase, itching for a brawl. He raises one finger, daring the beast to attack. Trust me, we have to see what happens next. Stick with me here. The gorilla goes full beast mode, sprouting 2 extra arms and roaring with absolute power. His creepy clown face twists into pure rage, ready to completely obliterate this guy for the blatant disrespect. Rihanna peeks out from the luggage, frantically asking Hertz what on earth is happening now. But then the gorilla suddenly loses all its power and bows, making the white-haired kid sigh in total disappointment. It is not surrendering to him, though. It is actually bowing down to someone else who just walked onto the scene. A tall man in a long coat approaches, calmly telling the white-haired kid to stop bullying his precious boy. With Rihanna still totally confused, Hertz just casually watches this weird family drama unfold. The white-haired guy calls the newcomer his senior disciple, straight up dubbing him the literal root of fear. This senior disciple, Karlup, just smirks, radiating an absolutely massive aura of untouchable authority. Suddenly, the clown gorilla and his buddies frantically scramble backward. They are literally tripping over each other in an absolute mad dash to escape their own terrifying boss. Rihanna is fully ready to bolt too, but Hertz calmly tells her that nothing bad is gonna happen. Karlup just stomps the ground, sending a massive shockwave of pure energy right through it. This insane force sends the fleeing gorillas flying, trapping them helplessly inside a dark purple aura. He casually asks the other guy if he was being completely rude to his friend. Then he suspends one of them midair with glowing energy strings, basically showing off like a pro puppeteer. Karlup has the clown gorillas completely tangled in energy threads, making them dance around like his own personal marionettes. He calmly mentions he is just draining their excess energy, warning everyone else in the room to stand back. With a literal snap of his fingers, the raging gorillas shrink back to normal, completely and utterly pacified. Then he turns with a massive grin, giving them a grand welcome to the chef's castle. You and I would probably freeze too, just processing this chaos. Hertz asks how he tamed the beast, and Karlup explains he simply stimulated its brain using pure dream power. Apparently, the second this creature feels genuine fear, it completely stops attacking. Rihanna finds this lesson absolutely mind-blowing, but Hertz scoffs, pointing out that only the ninth general could pull off a move like that. Realizing how crazy strong Karlup actually is, Rihanna's tension immediately vanishes, completely distracted by a table full of bizarre ingredients. She geeks out over a rock potato that is somehow highly nutritious and also incredibly poisonous. Next up is an exploding chili and a sky blue banana. This place is a literal chef paradise. She is practically glowing with hype, totally overwhelmed by these super rare finds. Hertz, meanwhile, is already munching on something, loudly complaining that it does not even taste that good. Then he bites straight into the exploding chili, whining that it is not nearly spicy enough for him. Boom, the chili instantly blows up in his face while Rihanna just stares, completely unimpressed. She turns away with the most sarcastic look you have ever seen. Now Hertz is flat on the ground, totally stunned and confused, as Rihanna angrily stomps right over to him. She gets right in his face, screaming at him to stop eating random garbage he finds. That chili explodes because it hates humans, and it can easily kill non-professional chefs. Karlup notices her serious expertise, and Rihanna proudly declares she is the youngest second-rank chef around. Karlup just laughs, conveniently announcing the very first special ingredient processing contest starts right now. Now watch closely. This challenge involves handling glowing ingredients that definitely do not look safe. He sets the ultimate goal: turn these highly deadly items into actual gourmet dishes that normal people can safely eat. And since this is the very first contest, the reward is apparently something absolutely massive. The grand prize is the legendary special rank chef title, which is a huge deal in this universe. Rihanna is completely hooked. Her eyes are literally sparkling with the pure, absolute need to secure this win. A new announcer starts a history lesson about an era when monstrous beasts roamed the world. Inside a massive arena, Rihanna and the other hyped contestants head straight toward the competition floor. This flashy guy in sunglasses explains how humans first learned to transform deadly beasts into high-tier cooking ingredients. We get a quick glimpse of these beasts, like a giant fanged snake and one seriously angry alligator. The ones who figured this out were the pioneers of their world, an elite group of legendary chefs. Their entire mission was hunting down crazy rare ingredients and buffing up humanity through the power of food. With one dramatically pointed finger, the announcer gears up for his big reveal. He declares these legendary heroes were the chefs themselves, then points everyone toward a massive pantry packed with every weird ingredient imaginable. He finally lays out the challenge: 32 rare ingredients, each with a dangerous trick. That is where we leave it. Trust me, you want to see her cook these monsters. Alright mates, stick with me here. An hourglass pops up, claiming the rules are simple, which usually means they're absolute torture. The chefs get 5 hours to nick whatever they fancy from the shelves. Their mission: whip up a wicked dish that actually gives a fighter a massive stat buff. The announcer breaks down the scoring criteria: taste and power effects, graded by 10 absolute judges. And these judges, total culinary legends, the absolute pride and joy of the entire cooking world. Hertz watches from the grandstands, throwing out some silent and honestly quite useless encouragement. Rihanna suddenly gets the jitters, doubting if she's brilliant enough for this, but Hertz shouts down that she's totally got it. That little push is all she needs to get completely fired up. She's proper ready to smash this competition. With a ridiculously dramatic hand raise, the announcer gears up to kick things off. He chops his arm down hard, screaming at the top of his lungs to start. Rihanna's first thought: no way she's letting that cheeky idiot Hertz look down on her. Just pure, unadulterated spite motivation. She instantly bolts into the pantry, a total blur of speedy movement and cracking red energy. Massive monsters and glowing ingredients are flying at her from everywhere, but she just smirks, telling everyone to watch how a real pro gets the job done. Meanwhile, that white-haired bloke from the entrance is having a proper chinwag with Hertz about his boss. Hertz vaguely agrees that, yeah, some mental stuff went down in the gourmet district. Then his new mate drops a bombshell. Someone named Leonia just rocked up with a massive crew. He stares at Hertz, asking how he's gonna handle this dodgy new threat. Our boy gets this wild fire in his eyes, declaring they absolutely need to see what Leonia is plotting. The other bloke agrees, saying they gotta move first and nip this in the bud fast. One fist bump later, a brilliantly chaotic new alliance is officially born. Now watch closely because things get absolutely bonkers. A mysterious cloaked bloke just rocks up outside. This new cloaked geezer arrives with his whole squad, and someone's already been knocked out cold. The guy with the classic villain scar just smirks, casually strolling into the venue like a boss. His lackeys are lugging a massive covered cart that definitely doesn't scream friendly neighborhood visit. He marches straight into the competition hall. He is clearly not here to play by the rules. Inside, the other chefs are grafting hard, completely clueless about the spicy drama about to drop. Suddenly, someone goes flying across the arena. Party officially crashed, mate. One of the contestants looks up, spatula still in hand, absolutely baffled by the sudden unhinged violence. Hertz's new white-haired mate just stares, probably wondering what fresh hell has just walked through the door. Flashing a cheeky, fanged smile, this cloaked bloke starts moaning that this is definitely not the posh little cooking contest he actually signed up for. Then he totally plays the victim card, dramatically winging about how hurt he is. What an absolute diva. But Karlov shuts that down instantly, calling the intruder out as the infamous dark chef Callus. Callus just leans right into his edgy reputation, flanked by shadow monsters and rocking a smug grin. Turns out his cooking methods are so brutal, he was deemed completely unfit to even compete. A judge violently orders him to sod off, claiming normal folks can't stomach his twisted grub. But Callus just mocks the whole event, calling this legendary cooking showdown nothing more than pathetic child's play. You know what's coming, right? He throws his arms wide and literally calls everyone absolute rubbish. The rest of the chefs are, to put it mildly, absolutely raging at this mental disrespect. Unbothered, Callus stands his ground, totally ready to scrap with a whole room of raging cooks. A wicked purple aura explodes around him as he swears to show them what real cooking looks like. He casually swings a massive sword, seemingly squaring up against one of his very own masked goons. Callus's masked lackey just stands there glowing bright red, fully prepared to be the bloody main ingredient. The other chefs are gobsmacked, wondering what on earth this madman is doing. Then, a contestant recognizes the shadowy beast lurking behind him as a terrifying celestial octopus. And immediately, this gnarly octopus monster wraps its own master up in a swirling tornado of purple tentacles. Smug as anything, Callus announces he's feeding them this lethally venomous creature, an absolute crowd pleaser, obviously. He throws his hands up, loudly declaring these pathetic losers just can't comprehend his raw culinary genius. Apparently, if he dilutes the venom, it turns into a delicate dish for humans. With his special detox tofu, he reckons the deadly poison is basically just a minor inconvenience. With a flashy flourish, he serves this mental meal to the white-haired bloke, swearing it's perfectly safe. But Whitehair is fuming, calling everyone useless. Trust me, you're gonna want to see what happens next. Alright mates, let's jump straight in as a new challenger with a cross necklace crashes the party with a massive blue flash. He delivers an absolutely wicked flying kick, sending Callus's cloaked follower spinning right through the air. This white-haired lad touches down beside him, cheekily asking if he is alright in a proper solid rescue attempt. But the follower just spits back, refusing any pity and loudly ranting that the weak are just grub for the strong. Which forces our white-haired boy to just look at him and ask what he actually thinks humans even are. Then cross-necklace bloke declares this minion is officially nicked for mass murder, but Callus, he just cracks up laughing, bragging they will have to survive his bloody awful little surprise before they can arrest anyone. With dead-on perfect timing, he proudly announces his special dish is completely finished. Now pay attention here because he reveals his twisted masterpiece. It is a massive blood octopus tofu tower erupting everywhere, and we get a close-up of this smoking, foul culinary nightmare radiating pure absolute menace. As that rich, bloody aroma fills the entire arena, one judge actually admits the stuff smells properly brilliant. Up in the stands, hers is going completely mental, screaming that he just cannot resist the intoxicating smell. The whole audience has turned into a proper zombie mob, all chanting for food and sprinting toward the stage. Even Callus's own followers get infected, their minds completely hijacked by a totally ravenous, uncontrollable starvation. Callus just smirks, bragging that his cooking awakens humanity's deepest, darkest repressed cravings. He cheekily warns our cross-necklace hero that these poor blokes will not snap out of it until their bellies are completely stuffed full. So the cross-necklace lad unleashes massive glowing purple energy threads, tying down all the hypnotized chefs like actual wooden puppets. Yet even while fully restrained, those crazy chefs are desperately thrashing about to reach that gross octopus dish. Our hero grits his teeth, furiously asking Callus how long he thinks this desperately starving crowd can truly hold out. Suddenly, the white-haired boy drops right out of the sky, launching an epic surprise attack directly at Callus. He goes straight for a heavy stab, but Callus casually blocks the sharp blade with just his boot sole. Absolute zero effort. Callus utterly mocks him for fighting while his mates are struggling, blasting him with some wicked purple energy beams. Absolutely furious. The lad demands to know how to break everyone out of this food trance. Now, you and I know Callus is smug, so he launches him sky-high, playfully wondering if he'll help in time. As the massive blast smashes into the ground, a few remaining contestants suddenly realize they really need to leg it out of there. But a blonde chef quickly stops one of her mates, telling him to hold up before doing a runner. She boldly declares that as proper cooks, their job is delivering happiness, making Callus an absolute bloody disgrace to their kitchen profession. When her pal says they are powerless, she challenges him, asking if he'll really accept this sheer humiliation. Glancing over her fresh ingredients, she reveals she might actually have a brilliant plan that works. With fierce determination, she announces she cannot pull it off alone and needs everyone's help to smash this. She is annoyed far beyond any reasonable belief right now. The blonde chef firmly declares it is finally time to stop Callus, and her new kitchen ally is completely ready. Her other colleague agrees in a heartbeat, absolutely buzzed and ready to follow her cracking plan to the very letter. With her makeshift culinary strike team totally assembled, she gives a genuinely heartfelt thanks for their solid backup. Trust me, you will want to see this. Mentally, she tells Hertz and Karloff to hold on a bit longer, spinning toward the chaos, fully ready to launch her own epic culinary counteroffensive.